Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this, the 76th reply to comments video. Yes, it's the 76th video in which I reply to your comments. 76, can you believe it? 76. It seems hard to believe, but yet we've come to 76 videos. Now, what this is about, basically, the reason I do these videos is because I get comments on my videos. I get quite a lot of them. And I appreciate them. I really like it when you guys, the viewers, take the time to share your feelings to let me know what you think. That means a lot to me. It really does. It's very important to me, and I feel I have to reply. I owe you that. It's a moral obligation for me to reply. But I don't have time to reply to text, so I make these videos. Now, you may think, what's the point of that? What is the point of making a video replying to my comments? You know, I want to reply to your comment, but you make a 9-hour video? That's no good to me. Well, the thing is, you don't have to watch the entire video because I'll put a timestamp underneath the comments I'm replying to as a reply to your comment, and it just says thanks for your comment, it'll be answered approximately, and I give you a timestamp to within the nearest hour of when I'm going to be replying to it in the upcoming comments reply videos. Also, my comments reply videos are not 9 hours long anymore. They're much shorter because I do them more often. I try to do them every 2 weeks now. I've actually brought it down to 2 weeks. As it is, they still usually go over 3 hours, as this one probably will. But I do think it's always better to get the comments answered soon, either, because in my memory I remember what they're all about and things like that. And also another reason for doing these reply to comments videos is I enjoy doing them, and what's more, you, the viewers, also enjoy them. They get very high viewing figures. I know a lot of you watch them all the way through, which is cool, which is really great. So now, before we begin, I'm going to surprise you a bit. Now, firstly, I'm on OBS. I'm not using StreamYard. I'm on OBS because my StreamYard allowance has expired for this month. I only get like 30 hours or so, or 20 hours on this free account. But so I'm on OBS. But anyway, it doesn't make any difference because now I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to do this. I am now wearing glasses. Don't look, oh dearie me. You can actually see my monitor reflected. Oh my god, what am I going to do about this? I don't know. Yes, I am now a proud four-eyed git. These aren't my only glasses. I've got another pair actually for which I wear when I'm out. These are reading glasses, which actually is an enormous help. Actually, I mean, you may see me sort of squinting like that at the screen. Well, I won't be doing that anymore. Not with these. Yep, I had my eyes tested, and I did. The optician discovered I needed two, not just one set of glasses, but two. Problem is, I'm like, I don't look weird now with all the reflection, don't I? I don't know what to do about that, but there you go. But anyway, yes, I am now a four-eyed git. So this actually is much better. It's way better for reading and things. It's way better. I've got these long distance glasses as well. They're slightly different. They actually look slightly better. These are my readers. They're slightly blue ones. These are my long distance glasses. I've got to wear these all the time. So get used to this. Oh, God blimey. Yeah, get used to this. These make me feel really weird. The optician did say it would take me a while to get used to the long distance ones. They both come in these nice little. Cases. There you go. Problem is they're both the same, so I'm gonna have to label one of them. Which one? Oh, that's the readers, I think. Yeah, these are it's the blue. I did have different colour frames to make sure they were right. So there we are. Okay. Ooh, there we are. These are the long distance ones. Yes. So okay. So now I'm not. I shouldn't be squinting at the screen anymore. But I don't know. I just look weird, don't I? I look strange. I look like some kind of white collar criminal, don't I? But there you go. Anyway, guys. Anyway, right. So. With no further ado, I'll go straight over to the last comment that was left since the end of the last video, which is for reply to comment 75. Thanks, Ben. Only 13 minutes, says Hugo Roon. All right, Hugo, you're welcome. Rick Horden. Reply to comment 75. Nice day video. Sign me up. 9-day video. Sign me up. Oh, Rick, you're going to watch a 9-day video? Come on, I'm not Norwegian, you know. Hmm. Okay, we have here balloons. Or can I call you weather? I've done that one, haven't I? I can't get over that joke. Um, Reply to comments 75. Balloons. Do you reply to comments on your reply to comments videos? Balloons asks. And I said, I actually put in Balloons said, hugs and be well, keep your spirits high, God loves you. Thanks, Balloons. I actually put in a text reply. Yes, replying to comments is the whole purpose of this project. There's someone called Dee Brock. Right, I've not heard of this person before. Yeah, I can see where typing a few of your usual low IQ responses in written form would be difficult for you. What? What are you talking about? Is that some kind of intellectual response, Dee Brock? You got anything? You want anything constructive to say apart from that? That's not a very good introduction. When you first start posting on my channel, and your very very first response is to say, yeah, well, I can see where typing a few of your usual low IQ responses in written form would be difficult for you, right? Someone's actually thumbed that up. That's not a good start, Dee Brock. You do know I do block people who behave like dickheads on my channel. Yes. Woody Black says on reply to comment 75, I alternate between glasses and contacts. Alright. I've never thought about getting contact lenses. I don't know, some people find them uncomfortable. Marley Pumpkin says here, oh my goodness me, this is actually a coherent multi-sentence comment. Glasses and contacts deteriorate your eye vision over time. Your eyes need to see natural light. I'm short-sighted and now only wear glasses for driving. In the last few months my vision has improved because of not wearing my glasses. You need natural light and try to sun gaze in the evening. Alright, well, thing is, Woody, I could try that, but if right now I need to be able to see the screen. And it's been for many years now I've had problems along those lines, and having these glasses make a hell of a lot of difference. They really do. We've got a thread now. Reply to comment 75. Neil Peel of the Paranormal Peep Show. Hello, Neil. How you doing? According to NASA, Apollo astronauts threw their backpacks out of the LEM just before they lifted off. But were plugged via tubes into the air supply in the same way they would with an early spacewalk, like Gemini or Apollo astronauts retrieving cameras from outside the command modules. They did not remove their suits. They just unsealed their backpacks, according to official sources. Oh, right. I see. So, right, because I said, well, how do they do that? They must have taken their suits off and then first and pressurized the internal cabin of the LEM. And, of course, what Neil says, they didn't have to do that. Okay, I get it now. Yeah, I see what you mean. Neil says, hot potato, that must be you. In order to debate on over Skype, oh, right. Okay, I know who Neil is referring to here. Neil is referring to Max Q. And I suppose now is as good a time as any to tell you I have blocked Max Q. The reason I blocked Max Q is it's now beyond reasonable doubt that Max Q is a member of Team Drake and is not who she says she is. Okay, so there's a lot of this. I'm not going to read out Neil's reply to Max Q. Max Q has actually has deleted a lot of their own comments, I think. Jim Skim Pivot says here, the problem is, Neil, that Alan claimed they threw their suits out. Marcus Allen, quote, yeah, because all astronauts took their suits off and chucked them out the door before they took off. Scott Henderson, they chucked them out, yes, so to do that, to keep the door open, they had to go on an umbilical, that's right. I think Marcus might have meant the backpacks. It may have been a slip of the tongue or a verbal typo. Nobody ever claimed that, oh right, the suits were discarded, only Allen and Henderson. Well, it's like I said, maybe it was a verbal typo, Jim. Henderson also claimed Cernan came back with his Bliss cover, while at the same time claiming that it was impossible because the cover was, was photographed still on the Bliss after it was ditched. This is another lie. Cernan came back with his OPS cover, not his Bliss cover. Okay. Bliss is personal life support system, the backpack. TK, unneeded would be double N, and backpack is a single word, not two words. Alright, that's alright. TK, the spelling police have spoken. But what am I doing expecting you to be able to spell? Silly me. Space experts don't need to be right. Neil Peel says, at TK. I guess you use the initials TK because you have trouble past 3 letters or more remembering your name. Right, I'm not going to answer that. Neil is replying to Max Q, which I'm not going to reply. David Splendidization, hello, is also replying to Max Q, not going to reply. Neil says to I'm only doing this because this person is banned, is blocked from the channel. Neil says to Jin, Marcus in a car park some years ago, as I was picking my car up, chatted with me. He said they threw out their backpacks and connected up via the umbilical cord to the LEM. He was aware it was not full spacesuits. Yeah, I think that might have been, as I said, a verbal typo on Marcus's part. D.D. Brock says, in other words, Marcus changes his stories often as the wind changes direction. Surprise, surprise. Of course, that's DD's second comment, and again, it's just, I'm starting to think that maybe you're just one of the others people I've blocked coming in on a different name, because that's normally how they behave. You haven't really done much to ingratiate yourself to me, DD. Neil says to DD, Marcus does not change his story. It was broadly speaking the same general information. He might add more knowledge as he learns new things. If he says suits being thrown out, I know he's referring to the backpack, part of the suit. D.D. Brock, bullshit, he switched his position on Apollo. Phil, and you keep giving him passes for that. God forbid you ever exist even a shred of credibility. Now, DD, if you're going to be insulting like that and stay on this channel, you have to have a little bit of charisma like Steve Mumbling. If you're just going to turn up and 3 comments into your contribution on this channel, you start insulting other members, other people, right? You won't be here very long. If your next comment had better be a lot more polite than that, otherwise you will eat block button. You understand? That's the end of that thread. Stephen Truthseeker says on reply to comment 75, film sequels that were better than GHF for Superman 2, Terminator 2, Alien, Star Trek. Now Superman 2 was alright. Superman 2 was pretty good actually, yeah. Terminator 2 was a slight improvement on the first. I was never a fan of the Terminator franchise anyway. Never a fan. Oh man, my coffee mug makes my glasses steam up. Like that. I'm like thinking of that character in Some Like It Hot. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Terminator. The first Superman 2 was actually pretty good. The first one was good. The second one was not bad actually. The one with Terrence Stamp, and it was quite good. Alien, Star Trek, nah. Blade 2, says David Smith. Actually, I've only ever seen the first Blade movie, and I thought it was pretty good. Right, Dark Corners UK. Unexpected reply to comments video. Can't wait to listen. Right. Thanks, Dark Corners. Thanks for joining us on HPANWO Radio as well. Popcorn Boxing. Did you enjoy it? Reply to comment 75, Stephen Truthseeker. What happened with Slaxer's channel? He deleted loads of videos and started uploading gamer videos. Now this is worrying. I know you brought this up, Stephen, on a Panmo Radio. I'm just going to check actually. I'm just going to check Slaxer's channel. Because that is worrying, because he did go quiet for a while, for a couple of months, and then he started uploading again, and we all said, oh, good to see you again, mate, because we worry about him, because he's... And so we worried about him, because of course he's... Right. No, his catalogue is still there. I'll just show you. Display capture. That's it. Right. There we go. His catalogue is still there. This is good. As you know, you can see this is the OBS display capture, not because it doesn't leave me in a little box in the corner. All right. So that's good. No. Right. Here we go. Right. We have Neil Peel. Reply to comment 75. Ben, in hour 4, you talk about whether or any other medium has produced physical manifestating spirits. Yes, they have. So William Crookes investigated ectoplasmic form, the ectoplasmic form known as Katie King. He studied her for a 4-year period with the medium Florence Cook. He declared that it was all genuine stuff. The skeptics were even invited to come and witness it all happening themselves. Yeah, but like me with Jason Harrington, yeah. But I'm not a skeptic. Yet they all point blankly refused even to go along and try to disprove it. Oh, really? That is rather something for the skeptics, isn't it? They turned down their Perry Mason moment. It's rather like that ape in Planet of the Apes screwing up the paper dart. Nonsense! The Eddy brothers in Crittenden, Vermont, around 1874, were also producing manifestations of spirits, investigated by a very skeptical Colonel Henry Olcott, over a period of 3 months approximately. He declared it to be true. Right, so he's no longer a skeptic then. You know about my definitions of skeptics. He later went on to start the Theosophical Society with Madame Blavatsky. Such was the effect it had on him. Ectoplasmic material has been likened to cheesecloth or materials, but it has been sampled and believed to be cells from all participants, not just the medium. Oh, right. Steve mumbling. Do you know anyone in Western Australia that would show me some ectoplasm and let me inspect it? Maybe I could get a sample analysed. Steve, Victor and Wendy Zammit, they live in your neck of the woods. I don't know if it's Western Australia, but it's somewhere in Oz. Neil says to Steve, not offhand, the thing is, excuse me, it's meant to be sensitive to the light, but visible to red light. Somehow, similar to film exposure, samples, as I understand it, have been taken but did not last long. I would look for spiritualist churches, groups that might point you to physical mediums. I think in Australia there's a guy called David Thompson who does physical seances, but I've heard pros and cons about him. Not all physical mediums produce ectoplasmic stuff. Some just make noises in the dark, which to me is a waste of time, even if genuine. David Smith says, what kind of experiments and controls did this guy put in place? It isn't unheard of for someone to be convinced of something after claiming to be skeptical, and when investigated more rigorously by other people exposed to be untrue. Good question, David. Perfectly reasonable questions. Neil says, which guy are you referring to David? And says, if you mean Crookes, inventor of the cathode ray tube, he studied the forms of Katie King for about 3 years and compared her to the medium, measured her, weighed her, saw her at the same time as the medium, witnessed her partially dissolved. This is the ectoplasmic form. He had invited other scientists to come and retest his findings of the same medium. They refused, stuck their heads in the sand. He stuck by his findings till his death some 35 years later. Right. Interesting, Neil. I didn't know all that. David Smith says to Neil, just one word, any. Neil says, Crookes conducted a full 3-year test on Florence Crook when she was only 15 going through 17. He did this in his own lab in his home. He partitioned his lab into 2 sections, one for the medium sitting behind the curtain. At the far end of the lab there was no external door to his partitioned area. The only way out would be through the door he'd made in the partitioned section. She was effectively caged in. She would go behind the curtain. Within minutes this other figure known as Katie King would come out the curtain, like with Helen Duncan, yeah. The curtain is acting as a kind of cloth to contain the energy, as I understand. Some have suggested... Oh, these glasses make me feel dizzy. Some have suggested it hides the ugly transformation as it happens before it becomes a person. Professor Crookes managed to see both figures at the time when the spirit pulled back the curtain to show Florence the medium in deep trance. She then went behind the curtain, and there was only one person, and when Crookes went to see she was gone, only the medium remained. Right, so no hidden trapdoors, no people in dark cloak all over jumpsuits or anything like that, yeah. Very interesting stuff. Yeah, the Crookes Oliver Lodge, William Crookes invented the cathode ray tube. He was actually assisted by John Logie Baird, a Scottish paranormal researcher, who he actually was credited with inventing the television. Right, here we go. Marley Pumpkin says on reply to comment 75. Oh my goodness me, what's this? It's actually another multi-sentence comment. Your latest so-called book is about hospital porters. What? No, it's not. It contains hospital porters in it. And it's not a book. I've never said it was a book. It's a serial. When will you get over your obsession about a job you had 30 years ago for 6 weeks? Hospital porters are boring and it is a job akin to a sewage shoveler. Stop lying in bed and fantasizing you're a porter. You are not. You are a doughlite paid by MI5. Oh my goodness me, Marley. My goodness me, haven't you just pulled the pin? Right, firstly, I've explained my book isn't. The book is actually a serial called The Obscurati Chronicles. What's wrong with? Would you go up to what's that guy called? I used to be a Navy SEAL. Oh, Jesse Ventura. Would you go up to him and say, Jesse, why do you keep going on about being a Navy SEAL? We don't care. It's a job you had 30 years ago for 6 weeks. Would you do that? If you wouldn't do that to him, why are you doing it to me? What's the difference? Secondly, I didn't have the job 30 years ago for 6 weeks. I had the job 10 years ago for 23 years. Hospital porters are boring. You've obviously never done it, Marley. And it's a job akin to sewage shoveler. Right, well, do you want to... do you think we don't... You think it's akin to sewage shovelers. So in other words, you think sewage shovelers, people who deal with waste water from toilets, are really not very important, and you look down your nose at them, do you? All right then, just let them walk out of their job and see what happens. See what happens when the dustmen walk off their job. Just see what happens. Eh? Your hometown, wherever it might be in the world, will soon become buried under a mountain of its own waste, and you will be lying in a lake of effluent. That's what will happen if these people you despise and feel such contempt for were not there. And hospital porters are part of that. You live your entire life with that constant reassurance blanketing you that if anything goes wrong, you get chest pain, or you break a leg, or something like that happens, or your child is breathing with difficulty, you pick up your phone and you dial 999 and you go, come and help me. And literally within minutes, the best medical care available on earth will be there for you, will be available for you to use. So shut your mouth, stop talking insulting crap, and stop lying in bed and fantasizing you're a porter, right? Firstly, I'm not a porter, I'm a former hospital porter, just like Jesse Ventura used to be a Navy SEAL. And I know I'm not a porter anymore. You're a doughlite paid by MI5. I'm not a doughlite, I have a full-time job. Like most people, I work full-time. And it's not for MI5, I'm self-employed, I work for about a dozen different people. David Smith says, I disagree. Porters are an essential part of the health service. Sure, they're not doctors or nurses and may not require huge amounts of training, but their roles are still vital. Ben is proud of his work. If Ben is proud of the work he did, then what's the problem? David Smith. Any bad thing I've ever said about you, I take back right now. You are my hero. Mwah! I completely agree with everything you've just said, of course, but I really appreciate that, mate. I really do. Dee Brock. Did he really only work as a hospital porter for 6 weeks? Please tell me that's true. No, it's not true, Dee Brock. It was for 23 years. Slight difference there in terms of time scale. Reply to comment 75. Which is it, Ben? The problem of getting man to the moon with 60s technology, or having men been on the moon since the 1940s? Oh, please, Jim Skimpivot, do you not know about the secret space program? Do you not know about the secret space program? When I talk about technology, 60s technology, I'm talking about rocketry. I'm talking about what's publicly available. David Smith. That's just rhetoric, Jin. Now Gary believes evil wokeness is infecting kids' brains. Great comment, Gary. David, we've been through that. You know, it's more than just a comment. It's more than just some casual. What's going on here? Oh, what happened to OBS? Did it start doing strange things? Anyway, David, you know that Gary explained and we presented evidence for our case. You know that, don't you? Okay, so that's all. OBS just froze for a moment. Probably no problems there. It's still, like you say, it's still running. 24:45. That matches pretty much with my countdown clock. Okay. Weird Weekend North. A popcorn boxing. Crazy story about the lift. Yeah. Oh wow. That was that hotel, wasn't it? Where they were whacking the lift with a hammer to make it stop. It's moving by itself without even any electricity. Right, here we go. Helen Duncan, a reply to Count Dankula. Neil Peel says, once I went to a physical seance. It was to my thinking pretty iffy to say the least. I chat about it in some of our shows, but I had a conversation with attendees who said the seance, and some of them told me interesting stories of previous seances they'd attended elsewhere. One guy said that a child's toy drum was somehow instantly dismantled by some force. Excuse me. And he felt one of the screws fall down his back, wedged between his own back and the chair. He did not touch it, and he said nothing to anyone. Later, the spirits said they would now put the toy drum back together. And soon as that was said, the guy felt the screw vanish from his back. Somehow the screw, he believed, dematerialised and reappeared back in the drum. Another lady told me how she witnessed the medium go into trance, and a hand appeared out of his stomach, tapped the table, and then shook hands with the sitters. That's a form of ectoplasm, yeah. And as you know, Neil, we've discussed my visit to Jason Harrington's seance, where his hands changed shape in a very strange way. Yeah. Reply to comment 75TK. You, Ben, have proved to me many times that you are not seeking the truth at all. Oh, I've proved to you that many times, have I, TK? Or is it just, have I proved that to you, or is that just what you think about me? Which is two different things. You are willfully ignorant to new and contradicting information which disproves many things you rely on within your delusion of reality. Well, firstly, there's a lot of rhetoric in that sentence. Secondly, no, I'm not. I don't believe I am willfully ignorant. If I were, I wouldn't even be discussing it with you, would I? I welcome people to provide contradicting information which we can talk about. You see? Sorry, but this is my conclusion of you after watching to you for over 10 years. It's your life. TK, well, obviously, I think you're wrong. This is just 3 sentences. You've provided no real... You've provided no axiom here, and you've made no point. You've just described your subjective assessment of me. Well, you provide no examples, nothing that I can really reply to. You know what I mean? David Smith, he does a bloody good Steve Mumbling impression, though. Oh, thanks for your comment. It'll be answered approximately within the first hour of the upcoming Reply to Comments video. Right, Dankula again, Neil Peel. He seems certain there is no communicating with the dead, so to speak. Yeah, he said Dankula is a skeptic in that respect. He obviously has done bugger all research or even gone to any medium. He views them all as snake oil sellers. Yeah, he's got a typical skeptic attitude. He misses the point that many people see and commune with the dead on their own. No charging mediums involved. Correct, yes. Plus, he overlooks the fact that some mediums have given many free readings. He's doing some serious damage by being a complete idiot. Yeah, Neil, he's overlooked so much more than that, including what you've just said. In fact, all he's doing really is displaying his ignorance. Which is a shame, because I do like Count Dankula. I'm a big fan of his, really. Popcorn Boxing says on Weird Weekend North 2023, not sure about the spirit board, son. I said I won't be using it, at least not without supervision. If I use it, it'll be under proper supervision. Okay, there's some Max Q material here, which I will not be reading. Gin Skim, which I've actually, because I can't see the comment anyway, probably because I blocked them. Gin Skim says again, Richard D. Hall, that is, a reply to comment 75. Again, you missed the point. Well, we'll see about that, Gin, shall we? Hall has a right to express his opinions, no question. The point I make is he's demonstrably defamed named individuals with his only opinion as evidence, thereby falling foul of perfectly reasonable defamation statutes. I don't think so. Jen, I don't think so. I don't think he has. Because, you see, the plaintiff has to demonstrate that he or she, it's a class action thing now, led by this guy Hibbert. They have to demonstrate that this is, firstly, what Richard has said is false, Secondly, that the result of this, the intention of Richard's falsehood was to damage this man's reputation and the others involved in the lawsuit. Thirdly, that they have suffered damage they have actually suffered that damage as a result. I mean, the third one is kind of like an additional one, which will result in compensative damage, damages rather than punitive damages. Gin. Alex Jones was sued because he categorically lied and presented skewed evidence claiming Shady Nook was entirely false. No, he didn't. He did not lie. He presented very damning evidence and very serious evidence that needs to be addressed about Shady Nook. It's as phony as a $3 bill! He did say that, and he's right. This began a series of vile attacks on parents he claimed were actors. Okay, right, this is another point I want to make about Richard and about Alex. The vile attacks did not come from Alex Jones. The attacks which the Manchester Arena individuals who claimed to have been involved in that, injured or lost loved ones, they didn't come from Richard. These vile attacks did not come from the people who were in court. They came from somebody who talked about something which the people who did the vile attacks appear to claim, or someone has surmised that they are inspired by. Now that's a very worrying legal precedent, Jin. Do you really think that's fair? Alex did not carry out vile attacks on people. Richard did not carry out vile attacks on people. And Jones continued because advertising revenue flooded in as a side benefit. Richard D. Hall is not Alex Jones. No, one's got more hair and is skinnier, yeah, and has a Geordie accent. The other has a Texan accent and he's fat and he's got less hair. Richard D. Hall is not Alex Jones, but he isn't giving his books away and has indeed defamed people publicly. Is he supposed to give his books away, Jin? Did the Communist Party take power in the night? You do realise Richard is a highly skilled man, don't you? You do realise that he could have been, at his age, he's 50-something, he could be on the board now at Rolls-Royce. He could be a millionaire now at Rolls-Royce, and he sacrificed that to do what he's doing now. Don't give me this shit about people, oh, they're trying to make money. They're trying to make money. Bollocks. It's almost as bad as what people say about David Icke. He's doing what he does to make money. He does what he did. You know, he wasn't getting paid enough by the BBC. Yeah, he was getting paid. He was a millionaire at the BBC. He could be where Gary Lineker is right now if he stayed at the BBC. But he left that to put chairs away and devise his town hall by himself and leave with £5 in his pocket. Cut the crap, Jin Skim Pivot. And he has indeed defamed people publicly. No, I assert he is not. This means he's open to defamation lawsuits. Fact. No, it's not a fact. He's open. What we're looking at here is essentially outsourced lawfare by litigious paramilitaries as an alternative to passing censorship laws. The purpose of this entire affair is to make questioning the official narrative on anything, for any government narrative, is therefore ring-fenced from criticism. You cannot question it legally. That is the ultimate objective. In English law, the defamer has to prove he has evidence supporting his accusation as truthful. Correct. In fact, it's called fair comment. It's the kind of defence that if you can pull it off, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. The plaintiff does not have to disprove something he or she has never claimed. What? Well, that's kind of the other side of the coin, isn't it? Because if Richard can make if he pleads fair comment, and that is actually accepted by the court, then the plaintiff essentially is put in a position where they do have to disprove what something happened. And in this case, the plaintiff has made a claim. The plaintiff has made a claim that they, because it's plural, it's a class action lawsuit, they were injured. Firstly, they received injury. They received death, loss, damage, injury at alleged terrorist attack at the Manchester Evening News Arena. Secondly, that as a result of this, those who are still alive, their lives have been blighted by the actions of the accused. Not the direct actions, either the third-party actions. People being inspired by the accused and then going on a rampage of internet abuse. You complete cabbage. I'm a cabbage, am I? I don't know, I think I look more like Harry Hill. I just need the big collar, don't I? Hall publicly accused people of conspiracy involving mass murder. Yes. He named them openly. Yes. Well, he said that these people, he called them participants. But what if that's true? He now has the opportunity to formally support his correctness in doing so. That is logic at work. Well, I don't know what's going on with Richard now, his discussions with his solicitor, but I hope that will be his defence. I do hope that will be his defence. And you know what, Jen, you're actually right there. The difference is, I think Richard is saying something that is factually correct. I think what the case Richard is making against all the people he names in that film actually holds some validity. It does need to be addressed. You can't just dismiss it by saying, well, this BBC person said, oh, it's false, the false claim. That's not how logic works. I think people should be allowed to ask these questions about official government narratives, and the government narrative is that Salman Abedi carried out a suicide bombing outside the doors of that arena. That is a narrative, it's a claim, and people should be allowed to question that claim. In order to question that claim, you have also to question you have to question the validity of people's statements involved. That includes those who are the plaintiffs in this case. That means the people who say they were injured or they lost loved ones, indeed the people who were killed in this alleged event. That you have to do that. You can't question the official narrative without suggesting these people are lying. You see what I mean? Or do you suggest that any maimed and bereaved victim in such accusations should just accept any public reactions to the consequences of merely his published position and stay silent? No, I don't, Gin Skim Pivot. If any of these people, and I don't question if they're receiving internet abuse, they're receiving death threats and things like that, they have every right to complain about those to the police. They have every right to say that this person here, there's the IP address, they just sent me a death threat, they're calling me this name, they're calling my daughter an actor, and things like that. Okay, they've got every right to do that. They're saying this person says that I work for MI5, this person says that my son's not really dead and is living in a bungalow in Israel. Okay, if someone makes that accusation against them and calls them names and does something criminal, and as you know, speech can be criminal, I accept that, they have every right to call the police, call the social media company, refer to the person's ISP and things like that. So don't put those words in my mouth. I'm not suggesting that for a moment. The thing is, though, Richard didn't do any of those things. Other people did that. Not Richard. Quote, how old are you, Jen? Oh, because I asked him that, old enough to have no need to resort to childish, whiny voices, reverse baseball caps, or a position which says, man did not have the ability to land on the moon in the 60s, but did in the 40s. Well, I've already answered the last bit, Gin Skin Pivot. A reverse baseball cap. What am I supposed to... I can't put this on the right way. Look. It's broken. It's broken, Gin. The baseball cap peak is broken. There's nothing wrong about a reverse baseball cap. It's quite trendy. It doesn't really go with my glasses, I don't think. So there. Alright, Gin is now replying to Max Q, but they were talking about me, so I'll read this out. I'm sure Ben will find a way to defend Hall for specific personal allegations. Right. I've actually put up this, if you want to, let me refer you to HPANWO Voice. I've actually put this article up here. It's all on here, all you have to do is go and look at this. Okay. Right, here we go, display capture. There you go. Free the method to reveal one. It's all on there. There's the background links are there, but this is Richard's Defence Fund, which I recommend you support. If you believe in free speech, whatever your opinion, you'll do that. I'm sure Ben will find a way to defend Hall for specific personal allegations to others. Well, what do you mean find a way? I think Richard is innocent. Is that not finding a way? I think Richard is... I've looked at this and I've looked at the case. read Mariana Spring's article. I've watched her entire pukid TV show. I've watched that entire TV show. I've listened to every episode of her disgusting Radio 4 program, which is biased. It's emotional. It's rhetoric. It's all, oh, woe is us. It's emotional. It's manipulative. I've watched all of it, and I've listened to Richard's side of the story. And this is what I found a way to defend Richard, because I think he's innocent. I think these people are lying about him. I think that Mariana Spring is lying. I think her program is designed to manipulate people's feelings. It's designed as propaganda. That's why. Okay. But jump all over BZ Garson, who Ben now says has made slanderous and reputation-harming allegations against him. Do you remember what BZ said about me? This is different. BZ said, I think he said something about me, he called me a racist or something because of comments I made about the Artemis 2 astronauts, okay? Anyway, I blocked the bastard. Yes, I'm calling him that. Now that's different. Richard hasn't actually. You see, this is a different situation for the reasons I've just explained. There's nothing new in the cognitive dissonant world of the Apollo denier. Apollo men were liars and complaint cowards, and NASA people were frauds and murderers. That's just free speech. Well, actually, if you look at what we're saying, we do obviously claim that some people within the institution are lying about what they do. People who would have been in a position where they had to know. Not everyone at NASA needed to know. And as for murderers, the only murder we're referring to here, I think, is the Apollo 1 fire. In which case, there's no evidence to say that NASA were directly involved in that. Well, I suspect it was CIA wet work. In which case, the Central Intelligence Agency would be murderers. And, well, they do have a license to kill. We know that they kill people. But when they get rather more benign accusations levelled at their own little sensitive selves, it's suddenly slanderous and reputation-harming. Well, I've already been through that. Ben's a nice guy. He just suffers from short-term memory loss when it's about his own statements and his own standing. He isn't quite as bright as he likes to make out. Oh, bollocks. I disagree, Jen. Weird Weekend North. Why can't you drink booze on the coach? Ridiculous, says Popcorn Boxing. Well, you could sneak some in, in a little... I don't know, it's probably something to do with the roads and stuff. Alright, now, that's Popcorn Boxing on Weird Weekend North. Reply to comment 75. Ben to BZ Garson, your last comment, well, right. Now, Jim C and Pivot is just repeating the point. I'm not going to read this out because it's repeating the point he's just made. And when we're comparing it to Richard D. Hall. BZ Garson, where in the video did he say that? And BZ Garson 3:17:50 puts a timestamp. Thanks, I'll check that bit. I made a slanderous comment. I would never will. I would never and never will. You're correct to point out his hypocrisy, such as his belief in free speech absolutism, while deleting comments he doesn't like and threatening to block people who challenge him. He's full of crap. BZ Garson, you dickhead. Right, I do believe in free speech absolutism, but cockhead, this does not include, as I say, fire in a crowded movie theatre, defamation, threats. I don't believe those. Now, what you did to me, I can't. What was it you actually did? I think it was you who made the comment about the astronaut. I think it was. Oh, it was someone else I blocked because there was. No, yeah, I remember the details. You made a comment about me, which was, in my view, slanderous. You said something about me, which is far worse than what Richard said about the people who came to be victims of the Manchester Arena incident. You did much worse to me, far worse. So it's not hypocrisy. I was right to threaten to block you, and if you do that again, I will. You're on your final warning, mate, I tell you. So there, that's the difference. Weird Weekend North 2023. Shame the lady you met was not more woo-woo. Yeah, I won't tell you her name, but I didn't leave her my phone number in the end, but we were flirting. We were very. It was nice. We were just flirting, And that was fun. It was nice to do that. I mean, it's. She was an attractive lady, and it was someone nice to sit next to her on the coach and talk to her. Same video, Popcorn Boxing. I finally got through all this. Good video. Oh, thanks, Popcorn Boxing. Glad you liked it. All right, now we have a thread. Jamnoise72. These should now be called reply to Max. Lol. Not anymore, Jamnoise. Not anymore. As I explained, I have blocked Max. I think I actually put a comment here saying I'd blocked Max. Yeah, no, not here. I put a text comment somewhere saying that I'd blocked Max. Max is not his or her real name, I should point out. Gary Robinson said, I was just thinking the same, Jackie. That is definitely a person who is on here because they enjoy taking shots at Ben, and that ruins the vibe for sure. There's a few other people on here that treat negative energy in a big way. But what's with that Charles bloke, and he's unable to see that he has a problem? Why is he so interested in a scenario that's Ben's business and which doesn't involve him in any way, shape or form? It's weird, Jackie. Gary, look, I'm really, if it does spoil the vibe, I'm very sorry. If it does that, if you feel that way about it. The thing about it is, I don't want to just get rid of everyone who takes shots at me. All right, people who I can take people criticising me, even criticising me very harshly. And it's actually a far better defence for me to discredit their points than for me just to block everyone who creates that kind of vibe. Now, what made Max Q an exception is because I found out that Max Q is not whom they say they are. Max Q, I'm almost certain, is the leader or one of the people involved in Team Droik. That's why. Jamnoise says to Gary, they enjoy taking shots and they love attention. How much attention do they need? It's childish. I think it's mumbling, lol. And Jamnoise then posts some sleeping noise, Z noises, at Max Q. Now it was Max Q's reaction to this actually, which led me finally to, that's kind of it's tricky because I can often suspect that people are Droik, and I mean, I actually did say to Max that I suspected that they were Droik. But I can't just ban people and can't just block people or delete their comments just because I have a slight suspicion they're Droik. If I do that, that's exactly what the Droik trolls want. But this Max Q's reaction to what Jackie posted here left me in no doubt at all. Jamnoise says to Gary, wow, it's literally begging for attention today. Sad, LMFO. I'm not Ben, I won't play with it. Well, neither do I, Jackie. Neither do I. Not anymore. Steve Mambling says, Max Q is supposedly going to appear on the next Apollo Defectives. How do you think I would pull off appearing as a Chinese woman, you moron? Don't. Right, I'm deleting that comment. Steve, you don't call people morons. Don't go calling people morons. And well, Jamnoise gives as good as she gets. Get lost, you miserable, grumpy, boring old man. You well done. I shouldn't have deleted. I wouldn't honestly. If I'd read Jackie's comments, I'd have just left Steve's there because Jackie gives as good as she gets. And yeah, so you don't complain to me about that, Steve, because you asked for that. Jamnoise says, you love to fling out insults. Here's another one for you, you ugly old twat. Again, well done, Jackie. Steve, you asked for that. David says here, David Smith, I quite enjoy the vibe when Ben is challenged by those who obviously have a lot of knowledge in a particular field. I've seen Ben accept being wrong before, but I wonder if certain beliefs in all of this run too deep for him to backtrack on. Seems to be the case with many believers in conspiracies and paranormal. The base they live around them, as Ben says, we all have. Oh, the bias. As Ben says, we all have bias. We all have bias indeed, but I do think, I doubt the rest of what you say here about me, David, and the reason I doubt it is because I am eager to examine my own beliefs and test them by interacting with people who are detracting from them, indeed track them from very, very, very vehemently. Charles Scott says, for starters, I have a problem with Ben involving me with his proven without question. Oh, right. That's it. Charles, email me. I'm not going to discuss this with you. Email me. Right. Steve Mumbling says, that's a bit harsh. Let me see a picture of you. Oh, she's better looking than you, Steve. I'm telling you. Chandler says, no, Steve, you're not getting to me. Dream on, mate. Alright. David Smith says, Steve, I think she doesn't want to answer anymore. Some people like that when difficult questions come up. David, did you see Steve Mumbling? Steve started this. Steve called her a moron. I deleted that comment. I shouldn't have done it because, you know, she obviously gives, like I said, she strikes back in a very, very perfectly legitimate way. So what's this? Difficult questions come up, and so David, your definition of a difficult question is someone just being rude and calling someone a moron. Is it? Someone I've known for a long time, actually. Someone I consider a friend as well. Someone I've met in real life. Eh? BZ Garson says, Gary Robinson, I'm getting negative vibes from you, but just like Kremlin, you're a hypocrite. Well, BZ, you're free to block people if you don't like them. Show more replies. Right. The Lights Below says here. All right. Right. The Lights Below now has 3 comments on here, which I'm not going to read out. They're about Max Q, and they're referring to the problems. You know, the fact that I've been interacting with Max Q. Now, I say here underneath here, I say to the Lights Below, I have blocked Max Q because I have worked. This is a text comment. I've worked out their identity beyond reasonable doubt. I know who quote unquote she is. I'll say more on the next comments reply to comments video. There we go. Dave Smith says, you should do your next reply to comments video dressed as Columbo. I'm starting to wonder if I'm really me. Oh, well, you must have watched A Person Goes to OLM. Steve Mumbling says, any excuse to keep Max off the defectives panel, eh, Ben? What? And he says underneath, why don't you have Max on the defectives? You'll be able to see for sure who it is for sure then, won't you? Well, the thing is, Steve, there's things I know about this situation I can't tell you, but I've been talking privately with the rest of the detectives. Max Q is not who they say they are. Right? That's why. It's got nothing to do with it's nothing to do with any information they present. Right? It's nothing to do with any information. It's to do with the fact that they are somebody who I think is well, do you know what Droik has actually done to me over the years? Do you know the kind of things they've said to me? Do you know the kind of comments they've made? So no, that's the reason I blocked Max Q. That's the end of that thread, thank goodness. Gary Robinson says here, on reply to comment 75, so Ben, Max Q accused you of lecturing people about ayahuasca and psychedelics when you've not even tried it. At the same time, Max Q sides with other people on this forum who lecture us on ayahuasca and psychedelics when they've never even tried it, and tell us that people's experience are a delusion. A heads up for those people, Ben isn't lecturing on those subjects, he's mostly reading out the info I'm posting based on experience. If you've not tried them, can only relay information from others. There's not a thing wrong with that unless you're claiming the experiences are not real without having tried it yourself. Ben, there are too many people on here who simply enjoy having a go at you, and I think it's ruined the whole comments reply forum thing. Cheers. Well, Gary, I mean, I have actually blocked the person you're talking about. The Lights Below was saying the same thing, and this is based on the most recent posts from Max Q, which indicate without a doubt that they are Team Droid, and I have blocked them. Okay, but I'm not going to block people for disagreeing. I'm not going to block people. I'm afraid I'm not going to block people simply for being critical, even very harshly critical. You can always block individuals if you wish. You don't have to interact with them. I will interact with them and I'll give them as good as I get. But if any moment I suspect that someone is not who they say they are, they might be part of a gang of people who've who've hurled abuse at me in a criminal manner. This is not the Richard D. Hall thing, where there's some vague suggestion that he said something to someone at some point and someone else heard it and went and abused people. This is him directly accusing me, saying that my mother accused me of child abuse, things like that. This is them contacting people, trying to ruin my reputation, actively contacting people and spreading lies about me. Things I've had to call the police because of things they've been saying. I will block. If you think for 1 second that I'm going to put up with that, you underestimate me. David Smith says here to Gary, no, Gary, the argument is show us the evidence the claims are real. That's always been the argument. It's not the fault of someone asking for evidence, be it of people taking drugs or people promising to send gold bars from another country. Well, David, we don't have a problem with that. I've already said that's the case. That's what we're doing. I know lots of people who have emails from bank managers in Nigeria claiming money is just waiting to be sent. They've all had that experience, so it must be real. Yeah, David, there's £100 million worth of gold lying in a vault in Lagos. It's mine, I'm going to get it soon. I just sent £100 to someone. They're going to transfer it over for me, but seems to be taking its time. I agree with you that having digs in Ben, insulting him, etc., doesn't show good form. I get people become frustrated because at a certain point everything is turned into a conspiracy if it goes against preconceived beliefs. No, David, I do make a serious effort to maintain rational conversation with people like yourself. I do. Take holographic planes. All right. As an example, we've been through this, David. When I pushed to the point where he could show no evidence for that technology today, let alone back in 2001, it was a simple case of presupposing it to be the case, because otherwise the whole Dr. Judy Wood claim about an energy weapon is put into question. Look, David, I've explained that to you. I've explained that it is a perfectly legitimate speculation in that context. I've told you that. I'm not going to go into details about that again. And that highlights the whole problem. No, it doesn't. Ben may call it rhetoric or me being sarcastic. Well, actually, David, you're more polite than most of them. But it all goes pointing out the lack of critical thinking and irrationality behind many of these beliefs. Well, I don't. As I said, the whole point of these discussions is so we can get to the bottom of what exactly is rational and how much critical thinking we're doing. That's the whole point. And that's what I'm doing. If what you're saying was true, then this video wouldn't happen, because I would never allow that kind of dissent. Reply to comment 75, Mr. Grey Owl. Rock on, thank you, Mr. Grey Owl. How are you? I enjoyed your latest video. Reply to comment 75. I'm so glad you had your eyes tested. About time too, bro. I think a silver frame would suit you. Oh my God. You must be joking. Jackie, I look bad enough as it is. I mean, look at me. I mean, I don't. No glasses suit me. But I'd rather look like a white collar criminal than some kind of dark alleyway lurker beside a school. No silver frame for me. All right, now we have here Steve mumbling. I left this comment for Jara. Deleting my comments, Jara? You aren't you interested in the truth? That shows everyone you know you're talking rubbish, doesn't it? The big question is, as you and the rest of the defectives obviously know you're talking rubbish, why persist with it? Why not ask Emlyn-Jones how he thinks the Germans threw the Valhalla radiation belts to get to the moon back in the 1940s? All right, okay. Jara and I have discussed this privately, okay, and Jara and I we conferred privately, and he has left a little comment for you as a response. This is a part of your Apollo Defectives team narrative, isn't it? Why are you so keen to sign up for a SpaceX ride around Mars when you think it's suicide to travel through the belts? Why are you so keen to sign up for a SpaceX ride around Mars when you believe they don't know what they're doing? Well, Steve, the answer to your comment, Jara has no doubt provided on your channel. Reply to comment 75. Mumbling Steve. Couldn't live without those he berates. When he talks about Aaron's psychology, that's pots and kettles right there, how ironic. Mumbling Steve. Well, yeah, you know what? He is. I mean, I think the role we play in Steve Mumbling's life is a bit like racists in Diane Abbott's life. Literally, you take us away, and his raison d'etre goes out the window. If only I could bring myself to believe the Queen of England was a shape-shifting lizard from outer space. Well, we can help you with that, Steve, if you want. David Smith says to Steve, mumbling, "Not from outer space, Steve. Come on, be reasonable." Boudica statue, part 1 of 2. Oh, it's an old one now. We've got something called A Non-I. Right, that's interesting. Interesting, eh? A Non-I. Boudica, this is my HPANWO London Truth Tours, part 6. No, it's exactly there for a reason. The opposite. Her and her people are opposed still. Did the Romans stay after Boudica? Exactly. They pissed off back to Rome for more Olive's testicles. Or Olive's testicles. Well, they did. They stayed for 300 years after Boudica. Olive's testicles. I know the Romans have horrible eating habits, but God blimey, that makes Rick and Ed's bottom characters, look awful. Alright, we have Helen Duncan now, TK. Linking to yourself as a source reference for yourself is a bit desperate. No, TK. It's not a source, it's a background, alright? It's basically myself, me trying to... What I'm trying to do here is... Oh, that's the end of an hour. That's good. That's the first hour out of the way. Oh, that's it. Right, stop. Okay. What I'm trying to do is I'm. It's not a source reference. It is a background. So basically, I'm saying, well, look, I've got this information here, but I want to make a full reply. A full reply to what the point that Dankula's making refers to research and information I've published before. In order to stop myself having to repeat myself, all you have to do is go there. Okay, it's not the same as a source reference. This was the mistake. This is what the mistake that the old Beats Art, God rest him, that's the mistake he made. Okay, that's the end of an hour, guys. Back soon. Alright, guys and gals, it's hour number 2. I hope you're all settled in. I hope you're all having fun. Let's see what comes in hour number 2. Right. We have now... Oh, what we got now? We have Jack Burns saying here, I think the moon landing is... This is on a reply to comment 75. It's one of those subjects you cannot be sure of either way. It wouldn't surprise me if Marcus Allen and the other detectives sometimes did have a maybe they did manage it moment. Musk's recent rocket failure would suggest to me the NASA guys in the 60s performed miracles getting the ship to the moon and back. There can be no excuses with this Artemis 2 mission though, although apparently it's going to be a lunar flyby rather than a landing, so one has to wonder why not, seeing as they're going all that way. And Steve says, Google Apollo 8. Dee Dee Brock says, or Apollo 10 for that matter. Right, yeah, it's true. The first Apollo missions were flybys. But apart from that, you ask a good question, Jack, which is, presumably they will have to find some way around these double blinds that we have actually discussed. Indeed, I talked about that in my Artemis 2 live stream, where we did a little examination of Jarrah White's videos on this subject. Dee Dee Brock says, just how many £16 million rockets do you think have to be built, let alone launched? Jack Burns says to Steve, thank you. Jack says to Dee Dee Brock, the general point remains the more difficulty today's science and engineering encounters with these launches and projects, the less likely the moon landings happened. Yeah, I mean, they were incredibly lucky, weren't they? There was only one major malfunction in the entire mission and the entire program, and even that ended happily, didn't it? They have half a century's technological advantage. Musk and also NASA can set their own realistic deadlines as well. There's not really an hourglass running as down as before. That's true. In fact, if you consider that when Apollo ended, everyone thought, well, that's just going to be the start, not the finish. Like we were somehow going to have to wait half a century before the next time we went. I mean, that's just... People would have just gasped in dismay and disbelief if that happened. Oxford May morning. Nice one, Ben, says Hugo. Thanks, Hugo. And Gary Robinson says, just when I thought I was going to win the tinfoil hat nutter prize. No, Hugo gets his. He can keep his spliffs in it. Oxford May morning. Marley Pumpkin says, you say you are a journalist, but you are not. Why didn't you interview woke students about the trains agenda? Well, because I didn't need to go anywhere on the railway, and I didn't expect them to have a timetable in their back pocket. You can't even burn a piece of cardboard. Well, I could if my daughter's cigarette lighter had been working, I could. You just want to go home and lie on your bed fantasizing about aliens and UFOs. I thought I was fantasizing about being a hospital porter, Marley. Make your minds up. May the 1st is a pagan day, but you say your Christian prayers on the street. We need a Wicker Man world. Oh, for goodness sake, you know very well that these two worlds overlap. You know that the festivals, the pagan and Christians festivals overlap. Come on, read your history, Marley. Sonara's history. What's a train's agenda? Lab-Base says to Sonara, putting the I back into trans. Well, not today then, not because they're all on strike. May morning 2023. Stephen Truthseeker. Ben just don't have the money anymore to gallivant. well, there's not much money required. I mean, it's just most of it's just free stuff. I mean, they even give away free food in some places, as you saw. It's just basically people often buy stuff. Most of the booze people drink is just bought from shops. Some people have you have less money to gallivant, but you can still gallivant. And I must say I like the word gallivant. I think it's very good. Same video, Stephen Truthseeker. It's all over, Ben. The games are over. Lol. What games? Gary Robinson, same video. Ben, mate, what's the name of that underground bar on High Street? I used to co-promote drum and bass nights there back in the noughties. Got ripped off by the owner big time. Good times though. Oh, it's not the Vaults, because that's what's it called? No, the Vaults is on Cornmarket. I know the place you mean. I can't remember. Oh, I got bloody ripped off by one of the bouncers too. Popcorn Boxing says, how were you ripped off? Gary says, by not being paid back the money myself and my business partner at the time invested in. By not being paid back the money myself and my business partner at the time invested in the events, let alone any profit. Popcorn Boxing says, oh dear. Well, with me it was I went in there. There was this horrible French bouncer with a weird beard and moustache. And he said, "Oh, it's two." He says, "You're paying for yourself and your mate. It's two of you." So I paid double to get in, paid for myself and my friend. When I got into the bar, I found out he'd already paid. I went back and challenged the bouncer on this, and he denied it. So he ripped me off. So wherever it is, Gary, it's obviously very forgettable, and indeed it appears it's not there now. So it went out of business. Good. Oxford May morning. Yeah, happy Xmas or something. Very good. Alien Biker says, great report, Ben. Keep the tradition alive. Thanks, Alien Biker. I will. I might go if the weather's nice enough. I'll go next year. Dark Corners. Fantastic video as always, Ben. Happy May Day. Same to you, mate. Same to you. Happy May Day. Oxford May morning, Gary Robinson. I recently watched Shadowlands. Great movie. Yeah, I've got the urge to watch it again. Actually, there's a May morning scene there, and one of my friends is in it. Yeah. Popcorn Boxing says best ever. Gary says to Popcorn, not the best ever, but I do enjoy coming across good old movies that I've never heard of before. That being said, it was a long time ago, and I was new in the music business at the time, and everyone has to pay their school fees. Yeah, I mean, I watched it. I don't know where I watched it. I mean, because I grew up reading the Chronicles of Narnia. I was always very interested in C.S. Lewis, even from when I was a small kid. And I think I went to see this at the cinema when it came out. Paul Armstrong says on May morning, it was depressing to see all those future leaders in the crowds in Oxford. Heads full of climate change bullshit and believing in the left-right paradigm and thinking voting changes anything. Well, I suppose there was that. Yeah, there was that. Yeah. Dark Corner says, do you have a link to your previous May morning video? I can't seem to find it. Oh, I put in a text reply and just said it's in the description box. I put it twice with my spare account as well. Grafty Nihilist said on May morning, 5626, what's this here? Right. Okay, It looks like this is not going to work, ladies and gents, so I've got a burnt finger. I burnt the corner. And Crafty says here, God is sitting there rolling his eyes and twiddling his thumbs. Oh, yeah. Sinar's Astri says, a gathering of white people enjoying their cultural heritage. I'm sure they'll find a way to ban it in future. So lovely when the singing began. I felt quite emotional. Great video, Ben. Thanks, Sinar's Astri. I felt emotional at the time. I did, and even as I explained, even seeing the Morris dancers, made me. It just gave me a really, really powerful feeling. It's, you can laugh at these guys, but honestly, man, and there was a couple of ladies as well doing it, but it wouldn't be the same without them. And it's just so it's like I said this on the coronation video. What Lawrence Fox says. People find comfort in. Why have I got two? Why have I got two? What's this? All right, that's odd. No, sorry. I thought I had two. Sorry, I thought I had for a minute two of the countdown timers on. God, I look ridiculous in these glasses. Problem is, I couldn't. I tried on about a dozen frames. They got 100 different frames you can choose from, and honestly, none of them look good on me. None of them. Yeah, I mean, was it Lawrence Fox says people find comfort and reassurance in things that don't change in a world of rapid change. Yeah. Popcorn Boxing. Wow, the Plush nightclub still open nearly 6 a.m. They can't do that every night. Popcorn Boxing. That's on May morning. Popcorn Boxing. Has modernity destroyed May Day? No. As you can see there, I thought it had for a little while. I thought it had, but it didn't. Ellie House says, May morning is such a beautiful tradition. It's a pity those students always have to ruin it for everybody. Oh, no, they don't, man. Ellie. They actually they actually were quite fun. They were good natured. There was no fights or anything. And no one got hurt. Do you know what? I was walking down the street a couple of days ago. And this bloke says, oh, hello there. He was standing by a bus stop. And he says, hello there. I know you. You made that video about the May morning. And I says, yeah, I did. And he said, oh, I was in the band. I was a member of the band on the steps of the Bodleian. I said, oh, right. You're the band, the steps of the Bodleian Library. Yeah. And Popcorn Boxing says, I think you forgot to add the link in the old video. I didn't know add the link to the old video. And I said, no, it's in the description box. Take a look. And then I explained, oh, I thought you meant a YouTube vid. And I said, no. What it is, when I put links to past videos in description boxes, I don't put a link to the video page. I put a link to the HPANWO TV blog notice with the video platform links in them. The reason is because you know what YouTube's like. These things could vanish at any moment. So, and of course, when you go to that notice, you'll see the option of watching it on BitChute, Odyssey, or Rumble as well, which are far less likely to go. Popcorn Boxing says, lol, human sacrifice, burnt finger. Well, it did hurt a bit. I had a blister there. Okay, we have now. Wait, we got like a long thread here on Apply to Comment 75. Neil Peel says, by the way, just for those that say Geddes Ward talks to the dead, quite an ill-informed assumption on all counts. Firstly, the so-called dead are not in the slightest bit dead. Post-material entities is a much better term. Spirits if you must. But then we're all spirits whether you like it or not. And I do not talk to the dead. Post-material personas or spirits communicate mostly via mental images picked up in the minds of those still here, and mental thoughts, like odd words, not heard by the ear but as ideas. They pop into your mind as thoughts do. But you learn to discern what is your thoughts and what are theirs, a kind of telepathy. But it's often called clairvoyance and similar terms. I don't speak to them all, but just receive the thoughts. Anyone who says they are dead is not talking from the fuller picture. DJ Brock. So 4 O's. Talking with persons that have slipped the bonds of the physical realm is perfectly acceptable, but manned space flight to the moon is a stark impossibility, and you wondered why you are rightly ridiculed. My days of not taking you seriously is certainly coming to a middle. What sort of ridiculous comparison is that, DD Brock? And Neil says, communication with the afterlife is still going on. It's happened for centuries. It's you that missed the boat on this one. DD says, in your opinion, clearly you missed the point, genius. Again, Neil, no. I did not miss the point. You know our opinion on the so-called lunar landings. The big difference is the propaganda machine that tells you obedient fans that it happened. I guess you rolling your sleeves up for the jabberoonie. Dee Dee says to Deal, the big difference is you think your opinions trump facts. Call me when you have facts. We have, haven't we? Neil says, Dee Dee, start with a good time studying the photos, then the jumpsuit of Young. Dee Dee Brock. You mean the photos you plonkers claim are the perfect without flaws? They aren't, by the way. Specifically, what is your evidence there is something wrong with the jumpsuit? Can you present the facts to back up your opinions? Because all I'm hearing from you are opinions. A lot of opinions. Facts, little boy. I want facts. Pony up. You better start. I think you need to keep a more civil tongue in your head, Dee Dee. You really are not. You're not building a very, very secure foundation on this channel. You know that. Now, Neil, honestly, if you'd done that to a few people, I'd have blocked you right there and then. But Neil, I think is more. I think Neil's a tough guy. He can answer you back. Jin Skin Pivot says to Neil, the problem is, Neil, that you're here defending what you say is a truthful narrative based on personal experience around implanted thoughts from something somewhere that isn't dead, but which is also demonstrably not alive as we know it. Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, Jin, but yeah. But Apollo must be a global conspiracy which fooled countless PhDs and entire governments because you have a photo of a rock you think looks like a spark plug and another where you somehow know how regolith ballistics work on the moon. That's not a fair comparison, Jin. I'll explain it to you again as you seem to have followed. Alright, what's this? Okay, I'm not repeating that. We've already been... if I read this out... Jin, I'm simply repeating things you said before. I have no idea why people take the piss out of you, Neil, honestly. Oh, very funny. Okay, let's go back. That's the end of that thread. Popcorn Boxing says, Happy Beltane on Oxford May morning 2023. Thanks, Popcorn Boxing. Glowtone says on the same video, great reportage, Ben. Good to hear you spotted the summer is a coming in. Yeah, a traditional song from the 13th century used famously at the climactic scene from the cult horror film The Wicker Man. Had to laugh at your comments about the police looking worried during that song. You know, Glowtone, they were kind of like thinking, is there a Wicker Man anywhere near here? Which one of us is going in it? Reply to comment 75. Sorry, I don't know what a scullery is. Is it a basement? No, it's a room where you have... It's a room where you have things like washing machines and dishwashers and things. It's a room for cleaning. Large houses tend to have those. My own house, my own home is not large, so it only has a kitchen. But some houses have a special room with a washing machine in and things like that, and tumble dryer. Reply to comment 75. Stephen Truthseeker, April the 19th as well as April the 15th, Hillsborough are all part of the Illuminati sacrifice season. Yes, that's true. He also says here on reply to comment 75, does the solar maximum have anything to do with the rise of flower power, pop culture, feminism in the 60s? I don't know. It did happen. It did happen around. It did sort of peak at around the same time because 1969 was Woodstock, the Summer of Love, and that was when we were right in the middle of the solar maximum. That could be a coincidence, as the skeptics say. Stephen, it's wee Jimmy, not boyo, for your Scottish accent. Did I say boyo? Boyo, that's right, wee Jimmy Cranky, yes. Citizen Hearing 10 years on live stream, Marley Pumpkin. You have 7,000 subscribers, but only 29 of your sheep followers. What's this live stream? Does that tell you something? Yes, it does. It tells you they happen to be in the field where the farmer has put a TV screen. People aren't interested in your fantasies and your erotic yearnings for aliens. I don't have erotic yearnings for aliens unless, well, if it was that green girl from Star Trek, I would. But, you know, you realise that I have the 7,000 subscribers are not all people who watch regularly, don't you? You do know that. If you compare 7,000 subscribers, on average my videos get about 500 views a week or something like that. So you realise not all the 7,000 are watching. They find it boring and childish. You're distracting subscribers from reality. Well, you don't find it boring and childish, do you, Marley? You find it fascinating and riveting and completely enthralling. And I'm distracting who from reality? What am I distracting you from? Because I try to talk about real things in here and you can't stop watching me. Mark Devlin has had his channel terminated again, but you stay going. Mark did indeed, yeah, and you know what I think about that. I think that's an out of order. No strikes, no videos removed. What? I've had one strike, and I've had about a dozen videos removed. So cut that crap. I have a strike for something it didn't do. Why is that? Because YouTube loves your video output. Savannah Hernandez has Antifa threatening to kill her, and you hide in your bedroom dreaming of UFOs. Shame on you! You live in Fantasyland. Oh, you're the one who lives in Fantasyland, Marley, because you live in a world where you think that you by watching videos continuously and you can't stop watching them, you also have the legitimate position of criticising me and calling everything I do rubbish. That's a fantasy. That's the land you live in, idiot. So if you judge someone's credibility, it sounds like you're judging a person's credibility. It's saying that it's proportional to the opposition they get. That's not necessarily true. That's not. It could be perhaps the popularity of my channel. It could be certainly it could simply be picking names out of a hat in the algorithms. So that's not how it works. Right, so 10 years on, heartless romantic just leaves me a thumbs up. I'm glad you think so, heartless romantic. Yeah, I suppose I'm a bit like you in that respect, because I am a heartless romantic. Yeah, well, I'm a heartful romantic. Same video, interterrestrial. There are currently 30 hours of video on the citizens' hearing on YouTube. I'm surprised, honestly. Right, because that's great, because that's virtually the whole thing. So the citizen hearings. If the citizens' hearings are on YouTube, that's good. I mean, I couldn't find any, but maybe I just didn't look hard enough, so thank you very much. Citizen hearing, here we go, Steve mumbling. I made a fool of myself. I know, Steve, you do it all the time. I don't really think so. I made fools of you lot. No, you didn't. No, you didn't, Steve. I got Henderson to deny the existence of comms and TV satellites. No, you didn't. You just washed your head at him until he got fed up and started just saying all kinds of things, as anyone would, which was your intention. And make ludicrous statements about radio waves being unable to penetrate the Van Allen radiation belts, PMSL, and Allen to admit they used special film and that photographs were taken of Armstrong and Aldrin on the way to the moon. You very nearly fell for my trap. You just managed to stop yourself from saying getting a sample of the flag was impossible because it was on the... You stopped yourself speaking, but you were going to say moon. Lol. You did a live stream almost immediately afterwards where you were calling people Steve and looked seriously like you just got their ass kissed. People call Steve and looking seriously like me? I don't know what you mean. You deleted it very quickly. What are you talking about? I did a live stream immediately afterwards where you were calling people Steve and looking... What? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No. Oh, for goodness sake, not this again. The video was deleted because it had a technical error. It was re-uploaded almost exactly the same way. You had the raw video files, you bloody idiot. That's the truth of the matter. Alright, no, so I'll carry on. None of you will come to my channel and tell everyone why you consider yourselves space exploration experts because you're all terrified of another ass-kicking. No, we just done with you, Steve. You had your 15 minutes of fame. You've had it, and now it's over. What's the point of us coming to your channel and repeating points we've already made? That's the truth of the matter. All of you have an open invitation to come on my channel live. No, thank you, Steve. Come and make a fool of me if you dare. And the only reason we wouldn't do it is because we don't dare, right? Rubbish. I'd better save this comment because it's likely to become another one that disappeared without you deleting it. PMSL. Well, it's here, Steve, right in front of you. You put it up there 8 days ago. It's still there. Citizen hearing, 10 years on, Donna Wellham. Hi, Ben, I have to catch up on here. Been really busy recently. Hey, no worries, Donna, no worries. Christy K says on Citizen Hearing, I think Stephen wanted to do a stream on whether ETs are in fact angels and demons from another dimension or frequency or not visible to us, etc. if I interpreted him correctly. I often wonder whether they're not from outer space at all but are subterranean. Have you ever looked into this before? Yes, there are creatures living underground, Christy, that are like that. Now, Stephen and I actually... Stephen and I, I'm not going to say too much, but Stephen and I got together privately and we discussed this matter, and we you know, our misunderstanding was resolved. But yes, there are creatures underground that look like aliens, and indeed they are seen by people, cave explorers, coal miners, people like that. But some are from outer space, but some do come from underground too. Yeah, there's a good film called The Descent, which I think you might like if you've not seen it. Very good film. Barry dies. He was an old one now. A macabre procession burn. Yes, very popcorn. This is popcorn boxing. Ian, Shirley, Gareth, and Kev. And all the time, Barry was one of those. And oddly, you were never informed. This video was a while ago, though. Hope you're okay now. Did you find out how Barry passed? Yeah, he had COVID. Apparently, he got COVID. Thanks, Popcorn Box. You much appreciated. In fact, on the Gas Banner last week, I did a little tribute to Barry on that show. So you can listen to that if you want. It's on my Spreaker channel. Melvin Sherman says on Count Dankula, I think Dankula just talked with his thought psychic in general. Now, well, his girlfriend has a dog called Buddha. Now we have a Citizen Hearing, and we have a thread here. Alfie Noakes. Why does mumbling turn up in the chats of channels that he doesn't even like? Good question, Alfie. I mean, it's not Steve. I think I understand why he posts here. The person I really can't understand is Marley Pumpkin. All Marley Pumpkin does is turn up here and complain. That's all he or she does. They just literally post here and they say, this is rubbish, this is useless, this is completely pathetic, and sometimes slightly more longer things, but comments. But they've not got anything nice to say about my channel, yet they watch every single thing I do. Baffling, isn't it? Steve mumbling is like some creepy uncle gate crashing a kid's birthday party who apparently just wants to make sure everyone is behaving when in fact he's got nowhere else to be, has no friends, and should stop sniffing children's hair. Total hooser. Alfie, Steve mumbling is not Joe Biden. Steve says, oh dear, is that the best you can do? Alfie says, Mr. Mumbling, can I suggest you stop being annoying and sort yourself out? You really are a sad little man. Steve says to Alfie, and you are an unoriginal cretin. If you really want to see what a sad little man looks like, look in the mirror. Oh dear. We've got a fight here. Again, I'm not deleting any comments because we have two evenly matched sides. Steve says, and you should stop sniffing children's hair, quote unquote. Red flags abound. What would a psychologist make of that statement? I sincerely hope you don't have any kids. What would a psychologist make of this statement? Well, it's very obvious, Steve, what the psychologist would make of it. They would simply say, hello, Mr. President. Right, Tessa1111 Citizen Hearing. Alien 3 was horrible. Even Charles Dance couldn't save it. Utterly dull with boring F-word dialogue. I don't know. I think it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, Tessa. But it's a matter of taste. I quite like the all-British cast, actually. I thought that made it very good. You know, not Charles Dance particularly, but I thought Brian Glover, Pete Postlethwaite, I thought they were very good. Right, Citizen Hearing again, Steve mumbling. The Penturk parachute flare story may be getting some attention. The Penturk parachute flare story. What is the Penturk parachute flare story, Steve, other than a complete load of nonsense propaganda? It's a weather balloon story. But it doesn't make it true, does it? Well, it's not true. It doesn't help people who are seriously researching the UFO subject. Yeah, well, you're not one of those, are you? That said, most, if not all, serious researchers have written that story off as rubbish. Well, no, it is a controversial case. Not everyone goes along with it. I personally do. I've listened to as you know, I've covered this in great detail. In fact, I was the first ufological journalist to cover this story. It was thanks to me that it was released at all. I was also the first ufological journalist to take it internationally and do a lecture about it in Denmark. I've already boasted about that, haven't I? Charles Scott. Oh, Charles, this had better be original. Reply to comment 75. Ben, at 129 onwards, you say deleted comment, blah-de-blah. Blah-de-blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah-de-blah, accusing me of blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah. Look, please, Charles, email me, will you? Just email me. I've had enough of that. Charles Scott again, what's this? I have a screenshot of a comment saying blah-de-blah-de-blah. This... Oh, dearie me. Sorry, no, I'm not reading that out. David Smith says, you hear that, Ben? Charles isn't saying it's you, but he's saying it's most likely you, so you can't have a go at him, right? Now, David, I've actually asked Charles to email me and we can resolve this privately. He's not done that yet. Charles Scott says to David, the identical comment I posted is still here after 47 minutes. I can't accuse Ben of deleting the comment, but I'm aware YouTube software behaves like this. As far as I'm aware, it would spam the identical comment I posted a second time. Charles, well, hallelujah! Finally, you're conceding something. By the way, I actually, before I began this particular video, I went to my spam folder and I checked. There were no comments in there, and there were none to liberate, luckily. Okay. Right, citizen hearing, Steve mumbling. Fabricating something the UFO fanboys so desperately want to see isn't going to make it happen. That would require actual evidence. Well, Steve, look, I don't like the term UFO fanboys. I think it's derogatory. But apart from that, I agree with you. I agree with that. Fabricating something we want to see is not going to make it happen. Exactly. It does require evidence. David Smith says, that is why it reminds me, on some levels, as a religion. You have to have faith before you can have evidence. Just accept this set of claims and then claim everything else makes sense. Well, that's not a very good description of ufology, at least the more credible end of ufology, David. Ufology covers many things. I personally don't think that is a very good way to go about UFO research, and I don't practice it myself. The pushback by apologists goes something like, quote, well, how do we believe anything to begin with? That's faith, unquote. What? Who pushes back that way? Who does that? Here we go. The difference being, of course, that accepting things like we live in a shared reality, and if I break my leg it will hurt, whether or not we're in the Matrix, and all the sciences, etc., have a very strong evidence supporting them. I agree, and I don't dispute that. No such evidence exists for any of these claims, be they gods, be them of gods, aliens, ghosts, other dimensions, etc. No, you're wrong. Quote, you're just scared, unquote, is something I hear often too. What? But scared of what? But scared of what? Something I hear too. But what am I scared of? I think David is saying. Quote, their world would collapse around them, so they refuse to believe the truth, unquote. Well, David Smith, I already see signs of that now. And now, come off it. I think some skeptics would find disclosure very difficult to cope with. Now, I'm not suggesting they would do what happens in my book. Because you know that you've probably read Roswell Rising, a novel of disclosure. In the book, the skeptics all commit suicide, which of course I don't believe would happen. I don't believe that would happen. I put that in as a kind of a joke at the skeptics' expense. But look at Professor Simon Holland. Look at him trying to rewrite his own history. He sees the writing on the wall. He's a lot more intelligent than Professor Brian Cox. He's trying to maneuver himself up the starting grid and trying to make people forget what he said before, so he can say, "Oh, UFOs! I always said it was real, didn't I?" Which is a funny claim because apparently part of many conspiracies to keep people living in fear. Yeah, but that's something different. That's a completely different context. So we're in fear of the official story and in fear of the conspiracy, according to them. Yes, but no, for different reasons. For different reasons, David. You fear the official story, yes. No, you don't fear the official story. You live in fear of it because of the fear, say, of terrorists and things like that, and diseases and all these other things, and climate change, etc., etc. But you're in fear of it coming. The reason now, I see it does seem like a contradiction because you're in fear of it these claims being demolished. That is called that is, I forgot what psychologist called it, but basically it's because you're afraid of the hope that it might not be true, and you're afraid of the consequences of it not being true even more, because it would mean something possibly worse than terrorism, worse than climate change, worse than disease. It would mean that the government, the state actors are malevolent entities that do not have our best interests at heart and actually seek to do us great harm. That to you is more frightening. So you fear both. I often find the reality much scarier than the conspiracy. People using box cutters to turn aircraft into mass destruction is scary to me. Well, it would be to David. If it would be to me as well if it were true. That would frighten me. But I think it's not true, and it's got nothing to do with emotions and fear. It's to do with evidence. People of power, too, inept to act in times or counter threats to the public from those wishing to harm us, scares me. Well, yeah, but you see, the thing is, they're not inept. They're very apt. But they're the ones who wish to do us harm, and I think that is more frightening. I certainly would feel better if I just thought that the government were just fools. They would. I would feel a lot happier if I lived in a world like the comedy film, the black comedy film Don't Look Up. If I lived in that film, if I lived in the world of that film, where the governments and authorities they're unintelligent and unthinking dolts, basically. I mean, it's a funny film. I laughed at it, but it's very misanthropic. But if I lived in that film, I'd feel happier than the truth, which is they're not. They're very clever. They're very intelligent. They have an agenda. Doesn't mean they're perfect. They make mistakes, but they're the ones who seek to harm us. They're not just failing through their foolishness to stop those wishing us harm. A government with a secret energy weapon actually scares me less, as they already have nukes, etc. This is worse than nukes. This can do more damage than nukes. But it's heads they win, tails we lose. That's how their reasoning works on these subjects. No, David. No. We are having discussion about evidence. It's not that way as well. Okay, a person goes to OLM. Rick Horden. What a wonderful montage. Fitting for the greatest ufologist ever. Oh, Rick, shucks. Carry on like that. I won't be getting my head through the door. Anyway, you get the tinfoil hat this week. Marley Pumpkin. Same video. You lie on your bed fantasizing about UFOs. Not just hospital porters then. And if you ever leave your bedroom, you go to a conference filled with childish, immature people fantasizing about UFOs. Well, that's my choice. I mean, I could save up and go to Lanzarote and lay on a beach or something, but I choose to go to a conference instead. You're trying to get view counts, but everyone laughed at the stupid David and the equally stupid video, the equally stupid conference. Your view counts are way down these days. Was this supposed to be funny? It was supposed to be kind of funny, but I did have a serious point behind it, Marley. My viewer counts have dropped, and they dropped very suddenly in the spring of 2018. That's because I was shadow banned, but they still are satisfactory, I think. Same video, Keith Smith. I have no idea what's going on, but I support Ben's quest to discover the whereabouts of the little green men. Thanks, Keith Smith. Same video, Richard Kinzit. Where is the popular front reg? Right. Where's the popular front reg? He's over there. Split that. Oh yes. What the People's Popular Front of Judea? Where is he? He's over there, and there's just one man sitting there. Split up. We're the People's Front of Judea, you fool. Right. Inevitably, we now have Charles Scott on A Person Goes to OLM 1 year own. Right. Okay. Charles, I'm not going to. I know, right? I am not going to reply to that comment. Jack Burns says, "I wish you'd shut up about this." All right. Yes, Jack. I do too. And he says the David Jones persona and vid was hilarious. It's shame you couldn't just enjoy it like many others. Thanks. I'm not going to read out your entire comment here, Jack, but I appreciate that. I do. Thank you very much, because I don't want to read out this conversation between Charles and Jack, but I appreciate your support, Jack. I do. I really do. Much appreciated. There's along multiple threads here from between Jack and Charles. And Jack wants to defend me. The thing is, I've now stopped debating with Charles about this particular subject simply because I'm exhausted. Because he keeps going on about it all the time, and I keep answering it. I tried to answer him, and he ignored my answers. So there you go. Dee Brock says to Charles, wait. Are you saying Benny Boy made up the whole thing? That's fracking hilarious. WTF is wrong with that fat frack. Alright, that's enough of that. I'm deleting that comment. Once more, Dee Brock, and you are banned and you are blocked. So I'm removing that comment there, you twat. Goodbye to that. Charles Scott not replying. A person goes to... No, that's on reply to comment 75. Hang on, that's alright, this is reply to comment 75. Okay, I'll just have a quick look at this comment from Charles and just see quickly whether it's about something real. At 2:05:49 onwards, Max Q has not used the information that originally came from you in a malicious way. Oh, bloody... No, I'm not reading that. Look, could you please email me, Charles? I'm not going to discuss it with you on this anymore. I'm not going to discuss it with you anymore. A person goes to OLM 1 year on... Sonara Zastri says, haha, fabulous. Glad you liked it, Sonara. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alfie Noakes says, a person goes to OLM 1 year on. Great video, David. Thanks very much. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I don't have my costume on, but... A person goes to OLM, the original. Hey Ben, I'm watching this in preparation for the 1 year live celebration. Well, thank you, Dark Corners. You didn't have to because I screened the entire movie, but you got in a little bit there before. Reply to comment 75, Charles Scott, at some timestamp onwards. You have become a compulsive... right, no, not going to read that out. Gin Skin Pivot says on reply to comment 75. Hope this is going to be original, Gin. Re your inconsistency relating to Apollo 11's alleged UFO sighting as recounted by Aldrin. Geddes Ward being a medium, etc. Yes, unless you're saying that Buzz Aldrin made that up. No, I'm saying that if you accept Aldrin as a credible claimant about his personal experience, it's consistent to say then he's a liar on events he claimed more frequently around his personal experience on the moon. No, one could be true and the other could be false. He could have gone into space and had that experience and not gone to the moon. These things are not mutually exclusive. You also conveniently failed to tell the whole story. It was later shown that what he most likely saw was one of the SLA panels jettisoned around transposition and docking for more than 2 days prior to his sighting. Right, SLA panels. I don't know what that means, but I know that they actually radioed Houston to ask where the second stage of the rocket was, because they thought it was like that could be what they were looking at, one of the previous stages of the rocket. The panels were not detached with any great force. They are opened like petals when the LMS is still surrounded by them and then gently detached. Alright, so that's what it was, those panels. Okay. They thought it might be, there could be that. Well, maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was, Jen. Okay, but it's still perfectly legitimate for Buzz to make that statement. Inconsistent would be you generally accepting the UFO element of this claim without a full layout of the follow-up details, but not accepting he walked on the moon when this is supported by significant other estimates despite his own claim of having done so. No, as Jim, these things are not inconsistent. Firstly, you've just provided the full layout of details, alright, and I've accepted them. I've just talked to you about them and realised they could be true. But as I said earlier, it does not mean that if he told the truth about this experience, it means he's telling the truth about the rest. It doesn't mean that. A person goes to OLM 1 year on. Love it. Thank you, Davy Jones. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, David. Another David. That's great. Same video, balloons. I like Funny Ben better than Skeptic Ben. You made my day. Watch your back. The balloons are coming. All right. Is it the one over Lake Huron or the one over Canada? David Smith says on the same video, Agent 0017. It's 1717. 0017. Oh, well. You viewers, you all know how much I love the number 17, don't you? Reply to comment 75. I think it's absolutely hilarious that Ben will accept many people have been to the moon, including Germans in the late 1940s, without a shred of evidence. There is evidence. Please read the books on the secret space program. Please read The Nazi Bell by Joseph Farrell. Please read, there's lots of others. But when it comes to the overwhelming evidence for the Apollo moon missions being real, he doesn't believe it. No, I've already explained why that's not the case, or so he tells us. I think his subconscious tells us different story. Oh my god, Steve mumbling is now, he's got me on his Freudian couch and he's analysing me. So, tell me about your life. D.D. Brock says, seems entirely consistent with the rest of his bottom feeder low IQ theories. Oh dearie me, D.D. Brock, right. Right, let's get rid of that comment first of all. You have now outstayed your welcome. You can eat block button. Just opening your channel here. Guess what? The channel doesn't have any content. It's a blank channel. It says in it literally, it's World Series Champions 2014. He's got an avatar which he probably chose at random. There's literally this. Look at his channel. It's blank. Look at the channel. Okay. No uploads, no faves, no subs, nothing. No community comment, nothing. There's no banner. There's nothing. Right. You could eat block button. There you go. Block user. You're witnessing a live blocking now on. Did I block him? Yes, I did. Good. Right. Goodbye, D.D. Brock, you asshole. And I'll do any more comments you post. I'm deleting. The crafty nihilist says David needs his own channel. The David Jones channel. Can you imagine that? I'd have to get back the. I'd have to get the old. I'd have to get the sticks back, isn't it? Anyway, is Paul McCartney dead? An old video. I find it difficult to believe that Paul was replaced. However, it's a very interesting theory, no less. Very, Dark Corners. I didn't believe it at first. I was persuaded. Anyway, no, it's a really old video. The economy. It's your fault. James O'Neill. They want our money for their war, yeah. And along with all the other malevolent things they do. Coronation livestream. Dark Corners. Hey Ben, did you happen to see the video where Charles's eyes changed to look reptilian during the coronation ceremony? Very strange, possibly fake, but worth checking out. I didn't, Dark Corners. Anyway, you get a love heart for the first comment, and you get the tinfoil hat award. But I didn't. But I'll check that out. There are some fake ones. There are fake ones, I must admit. Oh, excuse me. Right. Popcorn Boxing says here. Oh, this is Ben Emlyn-Jones live at Truth Seekers Northeast 8, part 2 of 2. Good speech, says Popcorn Boxing. Thanks, Popcorn. Much appreciated. I bet you got plenty of popcorn, haven't you? Coronation livestream. Donna Wellham. Yes, Ben. Hi, Ben. Yes, my tablet is like that sometimes. And it's an old one, still going at the moment, though. Yeah, it's well done. It happens, Donna. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to set up my new computer at some point, but it'll probably take a couple of days where I'll be offline. And I'm trying to find time to do that, Popcorn Boxing says, worrying symbolism, the Grim Reaper guy. Is this a sign of the last king, the dying embers of the nation? I hope not, but it could be fake, Popcorn Boxing. It could be a bad omen that Charles, he's on borrowed time. But it's more likely. To be honest, there is probably what Steve Mera calls a rational explanation for this. I don't know what it is, but it could be that it's fake. It could be someone having a joke. It could be an Orthodox priest. There were representatives from all the faiths there. There was, of course, the Anglicans in the face of the ABC. He was there, but there was also there was the Bishop of Westminster. So the cardinal whatever he is, the Archbishop of Westminster, Catholic. There was the chief rabbi. There was several Muslim. There's some Muslim leaders there too. Yeah. Coronation live stream. Recording magnanimous live stream. I suppose it was really magnanimous in a sense. Magnanimous means to be reconciliatory. Now, Jamnoise72 says to me, well, I'm not going to read all this out because again I had to block someone, and I don't want to say any details, but this is a much sadder thing than This is a much sadder thing than Max Q. This is an old a friend I had to split up with, which is sad. But Jamnoise72 says here that this is a criticism of my comments, what I said about the monarchy, because I did make some controversial comments about the monarchy. I did, and well, that's Jamnoise72 says here, basically puts a comment here saying, I won't read it out because, like I said, involves a conversation with someone, a good friend I had to block, who's no longer a friend. But Jamnoise72 and her have a conversation about how I shouldn't have said what I did. Now, basically, I mean, I should say to Jackie, obviously, this is a disagreement between us. I mean, at no point she says they have no support from me in this day and age. At no way am I suggesting that the Habsburgs are the rightful monarchs of this country. But at the same time, I think just simply abolishing a monarchy is not the solution, and I explain why. I do explain why in this video. Now, I mean, rather than simply me explaining the point, I mean, I could ask you to watch that bit again. If you feel you've comprehended my points properly and you still don't find them convincing, then by all means explain why, and we'll have a discussion about it. I mean, but I don't think it's really serves no purpose for me simply to repeat the points I made when I think I presented them quite well in that live stream. So I suggest you re-watch them. Explain to me why you think I'm wrong, because if I am wrong, I'd like to know. I would like to know. Jamnoise72. All right, I think she's repeating the point. Oh, right, I get a chance here to repeat the point. She says, Ben, you can't have "Stop the New World Order" as your slogan, yet you support this crap. Do you not see the problem there? We don't need these people, quote unquote, at all. Without us, what would they be? The lying, stealing, perverted murderers. They would still be a murderer king and nice. Well, Jamnoise, as I've just explained, I think I can have the "Stop the New World Order" as my slogan and support. As I said, support what? I mean, when you say support this crap, what exactly am I supporting? I'm not supporting King Charles. I'm not supporting the Habsburg bloodline. I'm not supporting this whole the pageant you saw there. As I said, I do try to explain this in that live stream. I do dedicate a certain amount of time, a part of that live stream, to explain my point. Now, if you think I'm wrong, it could be you didn't understand my point properly, in which case I ask you to watch it again, and maybe you will, or maybe you did understand my point properly, and you think I'm wrong, in which case, please explain to me, because I mean, I didn't say I supported the Habsburgs. I didn't say I supported King Charles. That wasn't my point. That wasn't what I said. And you know what you say at that second bit, the lying, stealing, etc. Yes, I accept that because that's what the Habsburgs are like. I actually bring up the subject of Diana in this video. But by all means, explain to me the points I addressed and explain why I'm wrong. I'd like to know if I've made a mistake here. And I'm happy to enter into discussion about that. David Smith said in reply, I agree. If white people can't have privilege because it was generations ago that benefited from slavery, then the royals also can't have privilege for what their ancestors had done. It seems like you have a problem here. Okay, well, I'm not going to challenge what you said about white privilege and benefiting from slavery, etc., because that's a separate debate we've already had. Then the royals can't have privilege for what their ancestors have done. Now, again, that's not the point. In this case, you're talking about the Habsburg bloodline, but I'm talking about the general concept of a monarchy. David says, if I go to Ben's house and steal everything he owns, and my kids are able to start a business that grows faster and bigger than Ben's kids due to that influx of... All right, now you are simply you're talking about a ridiculous woke thing, and I'm not going to debate that with you now because we've already debated it. I disagree with you on this entire point, this entire analogy you're making about how that works. And David says also, and jokingly, stop being so bloody woke. Steve Mumbling says to David Smith, steals everything he owns, a bucket of dirty underplants, and an inflatable alien. I doubt your kids could build a successful business model on that. I don't know about that, Steve. I am. Alright, Coronation. Black Circle says on Coronation live stream. That's what all this stop oil and animal rebellion nonsense was about. Now they create the problem with their fake protesters who are paid shills, and now they respond by changing the laws. Typical. No surprise who the police serve. That's not the public. Correct, Black Circle. Now, I don't know how many of the stop oil people were paid shills, but if you remember I did a little review of the Extinction Rebellion meeting in Oxford, and I found there were some highly suspicious elements to it. I think it's on HPANWO Voice. For example, we didn't have to pay to get in, yet it was a very, very high budget event. Where's the money coming from? It's AstroTurf, that's the thing. Black Circle also says on the same video, removing the monarchy is a pipe dream. Well, is it the general? Well, I mean, removing the Habsburgs, I think, is possible. I think would be good, but is monarchy itself bad? That's the question I was asking. They have their fingers in this country so bad they will never be overthrown. The whole system is designed to control people. Yeah. John Nolan says on Coronation live stream. Oh, there's a series of emojis here. 4 reptilians. I saw that sign and a crown. A person goes to OLM live stream. Rick Horden says, blooming marvellous. Thanks, Rick. You get your tinfoil hat for the first comment. Gareth Davis Memorial live stream is another old one here. Popcorn Boxing. Do you recommend the book Evans Land? Yes, I do. You can read it for free. You can actually read it or listen to the audio book for free on my channel. It's on YouTube channel, and I recommend it very much. Partly because I wrote it. Right. I'm actually going to read a little bit of this comment out. All right. Because this is Steedy Brock, whom I've just blocked, but I just want to read the beginnings because, this is what he says here. He says, so, like any good conspirator, and he uses the suffix of the R word. You know the R word we're not allowed to talk about? The suffix TARD. He says conspirator and that word, the suffix. We can't use the R word on YouTube. Now, DD Brock, if I hadn't blocked you for the last comment you made, I certainly would have blocked you for this one, and this is why I'm now going to remove that comment. There we go. Oh dear, this is a sad business. It's a lot of conflict in this world at the moment. We have David Smith now, who says here on reply to comment 75, quote, they want to expose children to the reality of sex at far too young an age. Yes, can you clarify this, please? At what age is too young? Right, yes, I'll clarify that. It is basically, I think, before the age of puberty. I think basic sex education in early adolescence is alright, but ideally it should be done by the parents. And what information they are actually giving to kids that is negatively impacting them. I think there's reason to say that any information, explicit information about sex at an age, too young an age, is bad. I mean, there's a reason why these social taboos exist, David. Quote, re-educating might be a poor choice of words. No, it's not. Disney, like any other company, they're out to make money. Yeah, well, that used to be their priority. It's not anymore. Despite your go woke, go broke claims, it's far from true, as any company you may deem woke rarely has any financial troubles from doing so. Well, that's only because they're being bankrolled by other companies, as Gary explains. It's typically from other market forces impacting many companies, not just the woke ones. So there's very little truth to the go woke, go broke claim. David, I think you'll find that viewing figures for films say otherwise. That especially among the hardcore fan base of these franchises, you'll find that the reception of the woke versions of these franchises are far lower than the esteem they're held in is far lower than the others. When Disney adds T-word characters, it's trying to manipulate kids. But when people make videos saying shootings and terrorist events are fake and that crisis actors are being used, or that the election was stolen, that's not impacting or influencing anyone. False analogy, David. False comparison. The one is very, very different to the other. I have actually explained that one of those things is basically we're trying to expose something terrible that was done. The other is they're trying to impose terrible ideas on innocent people. They're very, very different. But other times, change will drive media. If that change is a positive, healthy influence, I don't see the problem wherever it comes from. I wouldn't if that were the case, but it's not. As for the gay song, it's meant to make fun of people like you and Gary who take these things seriously, while actual T people are being denied G-affirming care and other treatments to ease their suffering. Okay. It could be that is the case, and they were just taking the mickey. All right. If that's true, it's still worrying that they put that in there. They must have realised what people would think when they heard about it, not knowing the context. It's a bit like the Dalai Lama sticking his tongue out with that kid. Now, it turned out there was a completely innocent explanation for that, but you see how it looks when people don't explain these things, and I still wouldn't allow him to do that to my kid. I know you have T friends. I did watch the video, but I got a bit lost, to be honest. I only remember hearing a lot of woo being put forward. Do you have a timestamp on any major points I'm missing? No. When you say that I got lost because hearing a lot of woo being put forward, that's like me saying, well, I got a bit lost in your comments, David, because all I read was a load of skep being written. Is that a legitimate reply to you? Or can you just pick out a couple of words here and there from your comment for me to read, would you? See, it's not a legitimate reply. One I keep hearing when you talk about skeptics, feminists, lefties, etc., you seem to use examples of what I call far left or militant feminists or pseudo-skeptics. Those are just the extreme wing of a much larger body of ideas. And what you'll find is that the people who are not on that extreme, all right, or that far left, the extreme, they don't punch left. What by that I mean is they don't denounce their more radical elements. In fact, they even help them with succor in terms of financial support, legal advice, etc. For the radicals who want to go out and kill all white men, etc. The moderate feminists will say, oh, these people are really not doing us any good. Of course I don't agree with that. But then when these people come around, people like Bahar Mustafa, this woman who actually was arrested, what do? Oh, free Bahar! Here's some money. Yes, of course I'll give you some money. I'm trained as a lawyer. I'll advise her. You see what I mean? And anyway, I think these are outliers. They are outliers that the vast majority of feminist skeptics and left-leaning people wouldn't agree with. Yeah, but see the point I just made, David. For example, I agree there are those who seem to hate men and make silly arguments about all men being racist, but that's not feminism. Well, what is then? And why is it that the people who say that are not denounced by other feminists? That's the end of that. An hour? Right, okay. Well, okay, I'll just finish this little bit here. It's the same with affirmative action or critical race theory. I hear conspiracy theorists saying it's teaching kids white people are evil, but I've never seen it teach that. For goodness sake, what do you mean you haven't seen that? I don't need to go into now. Just look at what these people are saying. They are saying we're evil. They're saying we're all slave owners and we did the H word, the thing they talk about with Germany. We all benefit from slavery, and we're all privileged, and we want to keep our privilege, whether it exists or not, or whether we want to or not. Or we're just, maybe we're racist and we don't know it. For goodness sake, I could add to that list. Ultimately, this is all culture war BS. I know, it is. It's exactly that, and I don't want this war any more than you do. But the thing is, we don't have a choice if we're under attack. We have to defend ourselves. And I'll keep saying it. Yes, I agree with you. It is all culture war BS, and I don't like this culture war. I'm rather like Sargon of Akkad. I'm kind of forced into this situation. In the same way, if infantry boats are, if you live on an island and infantry landing boats are lowering their drawbridges and soldiers with fully armed soldiers are running out, you have to defend yourself. You have to defend your land. In the same way, we have to defend our demographic. I don't feel any. I'm not angry here. I'm not hateful. I just want to. I want to live. I believe my people have a right to live. My demographic has a right to exist. That's all I'm saying. If there was a New World Order, all these issues you and some of your viewers seem so concerned with would be a great way to take up your time while they do whatever it is they want to do, such as removing rights to protest in any meaningful way, make it harder to move around the planet, forcing poorer living conditions and working conditions for the masses, generating divisive ideologies to keep things from uniting against them. I agree with part of that. I do agree with part of what you say, David. But the moving around the planet thing is different. As I've explained to you before, the immigration agenda is not actually connected to that. I think it has another purpose. And that's the end of another hour. Right then, my ladies and gentlemen, it's hour number 3, and I've got to remember to put the timestamp over, 3rd hour. Do you know, I'm almost through the YouTube comments, so this actually will be... I keep saying, it's going to be shorter this week. It might actually be so this time. It might actually be so. That's David Splendid Isolation. David Smith says, when you compare freedom of speech... This is on the reply to comment 75. You compare freedom of speech, but not from consequences. You're comparing apples and oranges. What? If the consequence is doing something unlawful to you, then it's different to, say, a platform banning you or someone seeking costs in court. No. But a platform, you see, firstly, the platform banning you is actually committing censorship. It has a political cause. In the case of the Alex Jones and Richard D. Hall, this idea that someone's just seeking costs in court is actually another form of censorship. So there are. I mean, as I said, if you the whole idea, people say, well, you want free speech without consequences. Yes, that's the whole point. Otherwise, you always can argue we've had free speech. You could argue that in the Middle Ages we had the free speech to say we're witches. You got burned at the stake, of course, but no one is stopping you saying you're a witch. You can say you're a witch any time you like, 24 hours a day. You can stand on a platform and say I'm a witch continuously, and no one will stop you. You get burned at the stake, but those are the consequences. Salman Rushdie lost an eye and half his liver, but those are the consequences. It's not the same. It's David. Don't go there, please. Don't go. My advice is just advising you guys, because I don't dislike you. I think you're all right, and I don't want you to make a fool of yourself. I really don't. Reply to comment 75. David Smith. Ben, if you dream that Steve dies, it doesn't mean Steve really died. Your experience is real, but that alone doesn't make it part of reality. No, but you see, the thing is, dreams are different, and they're qualitatively different from what we call profound mystical experiences. As Andrew Newberg explained, we have this level, we have this sense that of reality. We say, well, when you're in a dream, it can feel like it's real. I mean, dreams. I dream very vividly, and I don't realise I'm dreaming. Then I wake up and I think, oh, that was just a dream. My everyday baseline reality is more real than real. It's more real than that dream. And the problem is, I don't know if I can actually find that. Let me just see if I can find the clip where he says it, because he does it very well. He puts it better than I do. Testing God. Oops, no. There we go. Credo ergo sum. Right, he puts it a lot better than I do. I'll see if I can find the actual clip where he says it, because it's much, much better than... Oh, and I have an ad to get through, which I will do so in a minute. No, you've actually raised a legitimate point. It's a legitimate question you've actually brought up. It really is. Where is it now? Here we go. Right, here we go.
Experiences are impossible to measure, impossible to prove. But does that mean that the pleasure of music,
here we go,
the smell of a rose, the sensation of God are all unreal?
We have a very strong sense that the reality that we call our everyday baseline reality is, in fact, real. When we have a dream, sometimes dreams can feel very real. But when you wake up from them, you say, oh, that was just a dream. So that type of reality doesn't carry with it the same sense, the same strength of the sense that it is real. So we say, okay, that's not really real. Now, The problem comes in when you start looking at mystical experiences and very, very profound religious experiences, because in those states, people describe them as being more real than our everyday reality. If we start to try to make a comparison of different levels of reality, how can we use neuroscience to tell us which one is more real? Well, you can't.
Yeah.
And this is the par excellence shocker for neuroscience. It cannot tell us what is real and what is fantasy. Inside our brain, everything is a real experience.
Now that's, if you this documentary I consider one of the greatest I've ever seen, and I watched it probably thousands of times. But I think that just says that really is a perfect answer to you there, David. It really is. Now, Jack Burns says on A Person Goes to OLM 1 year on live stream, if aliens land and make themselves known, I'd like David Jones to be our planet's representative for any meetings. Yes. Oh, you want me to take you to our leader? Well, I am your leader. He'd do a better job than any of the others, I'll tell you. David Smith, reply to comment 75. David Smith says, when does a fetus turn into a baby? Because I'm pretty sure having an abortion isn't killing a baby in most cases. Right. It is. Because, and I explain this, I've actually done a video called March for Life where I explain this in detail. A fetus is simply, an embryo fetus are simply words for a human being that is below a certain age. And that is minus, because we measure age from birth. If we measure it from conception, we're talking about somebody who literally within months, sometimes weeks, will turn, or even shorter time, will turn into a person with full legal rights. If you want to take all those rights, all those legal rights away from that person, you have to explain why. Where within that 9-month period do you take those rights away? And if so, why then? Because there's all kinds of different theories. Both from there's both sort of New Age religious types who say things like the soul does not incarnate until the 12th week, or others say, well, the heart doesn't start beating, or the brain's not formed. Okay, so you set it at a certain time. You say, right, we're going to set it on exactly on, say, the 12th week. So does that mean that at 10 seconds to midnight, at the end of that week, that person does not have full legal rights, and at 10 seconds after midnight they do? If so, why? I think we have to assume that I think we do have to treat unborn children as having full legal human rights. We have to. There's no other answer. And now we have here David Smith. Again, all he replies to his own comment here. Women and children have literally drowned trying to enter the UK. Yet you claim it's all fighting age men. I didn't say it's all fighting age men. I say it's mostly. And I'm not happy about people drowning. I wish they wouldn't get on these. Crossing 20 miles of open sea in a rubber dinghy is reckless. And I don't want them to do it for their own sake as well as for ours. As if that makes a difference. Well, it does make a difference. What's the best time to try to start a new life? Well, any time, but then you usually want to start a new life. You could either do it in your own country, or if there's a war or some famine or something going on in your own country, you move to the nearest country where you are safe. When you're weak or when you're stronger? Well, presumably when you're weak. Who is it best to send first? Someone who has a better chance of getting a hard-working job, or a child with a mother who may have to rely on the state? But you see that they're all relying on the state. They're being put up in hotels. Why is it the right are always keen to shout about single mothers from other countries being given handouts? Then without hesitation call for the problem. Isn't it fighting age men? Just more scaremongering, culture war nonsense. I don't know about what you mean by the right. It's lots of people who have all kinds of different ideas. Because it seems to be the problem is both, actually, and it's wrong. It's right. It's not helping them, and it's not helping us. And I said I think it has a malevolent cause. There's a malevolent agenda behind it. This is all part of the aim to create a tyrannical one world government. No one wants that. It doesn't help anyone in any country. Societies change over time one way or another. Even the Japanese old fogies go on about the good old days, and look how strict their immigration process is. Nothing stays the same. to want to be against that, to want that is to be against progress. But the thing is, I'm not against organic transformations in human society. What I'm against is the top-down imposition of policies by governments that force change on society. The only desire we should have is that it leads to a healthier society. Well, I would if it did. I'm not convinced that it's happening, but it's not much to do with immigration. There are far greater problems impacting us right now. There are greater problems impacting us, but you see, mass immigration is not helping. It's not helping anyone, us or them. David Smith, if there is an afterlife, can anybody really be killed? How long is this afterlife? Is there an afterlife? Well, you ask the question, is there an afterlife? I would say the evidence suggests yes. That can't be proved, but I think we've got good reason to be hopeful. Can anyone really be killed? Well, if the definition of killed or death is a departure from this incarnation, this life we're living now, how long is the afterlife? I don't know. I mean, do you get 5 lives and that's it, and then you enter a deeper period of death, which is more complete? I don't know. Or or do you just go on forever? I don't know. All I know is that there appears to be a continuation of consciousness after our existence in this world. That's all I can answer you right now. 75, David Smith. I think Sam Harris said those things because his family's being held hostage. Obviously, look at his history, all his books and talks, etc. Why the sudden change? I think some Trumpian hit squad have his family under house arrest with a threat of violence. It's the most likely explanation. I perceive your sarcasm, David Smith. It's technically possible, but unfortunately with Sam Harris, it's part of a pattern of his other ideas. In the case of Trump, it's different. Trump can suddenly come out with something crazy at a certain time, or someone else will come out with something crazy at a certain time, with no sort of like development. There's no intellectual development that can be traced from his previous opinion. In those situations, we need to be suspicious. With Sam Harris, we don't, simply because what his latest, what he said, the horrible thing he said about Hunter Biden's laptop, seems to be it seems to be an extremity of a progression he's already on. David Smith, 75. Skeptics don't raise bars. It's really simple. Today I saw it raining. Do you believe me? That's a non sequitur. I have a box of gold with your name on it. Send me 500 to cover the postage. Do you believe me? Whichever claims you believe or dismiss, which one do you think would need more evidence before accepting? Well, I would suggest in those situations there is a certain level of evidence that needs to be accepted. Right. Now, what the problem is that when those are fulfilled, right? You saw it raining today. You proved to me it was raining. I go to your place. You take me out there. You show it. We gather some rainwater. We analyze it. We prove that it came from the atmosphere. It has the right pH levels, etc. Then we proved it's raining. Okay. The problem is that skeptics do raise the bar, because when you achieve that criteria, they then add something else on. That in some cases they use their imagination to add something else on, which is raising the bar. Skeptics do that. I've seen them do it. The Rendlesham Forest incident is the best example, but there are many others. OLM 1 year on live stream. Mason Free Party. I haven't seen you for a while. How are you, MFP? Just to say, tomorrow, the 11th of May, is day 54. The day 54 Templars were burnt to death. Coincidentally, on the 11th of May, 56 football fans were burnt alive at the Bradford Stadium, which I believe was done deliberately. Yorkshire has a history of contrived disasters. Well, Hillsborough, etc. So tomorrow could be an interesting day, especially with the CME heading Earthway. Also, Jacques de Molay, 23rd Grand Master, was burned at the stake tomorrow, the 11th. 11 plus 5 plus 2023 is 23. All right. Interesting, sort of, what's the word? A fateful date, and in numerology, yeah. Lab-based. So what happened on the 11th that you can coincidentally link to that involves burning people alive? Yeah. Well, the 11th, nothing really. The 11th was yesterday, and nothing really much happened. I mean, it was a pretty harrowing day for me. I had a bit of a challenge to deal with, but apart from that, And Mason Free Party says nothing apart from an explosion in Milan that seemed like an accident. Oh, really? What's this then? Milan explosion. Milan explosion. Here we go. Milan explosion. On this day, the 12th, 19, oh, the 12th. No. All right, that's a historical thing. There was some bomb blasts in Italy on the 12th of May 1969. Here we are. Explosion in the centre of Milan. Yeah, but this is from the Times of India. Rules and negotiations. ED has. What is this? Hang on. Explosion in Milan. This is from yesterday. Okay. Times of India. Milan rocked by blasts. Yeah. Milan plane crash. That's the 3rd of October. No, here we go. Right. I'm just getting a YouTube. Here we go.
All right, we are getting more breaking news that we just are cutting across to of a large explosion that has been reported in central Milan. According to the local media, several cars were on fire, and that produced a huge column of smoke. We'll try and to give us more details. We are hearing several vehicles were in flames after the explosion.
Oh dear.
This happened in the center of Milan.
Yeah. Well, I hope no one was hurt. I wonder what caused it. I'll have to look into it later, but I hope no one was hurt. All right. Jack Burns says on Panorama. Here we go. On BBC Panorama live stream. So RDH Panorama live stream. I've just seen your tweet regarding RDH's legal defence fund. Someone has donated £1,000. That's right. Yes, I think that's right. I mean, yeah, it wasn't just a tweet. It was actually an article I wrote, which I've just showed you a little earlier on, and the tweet was just publicising it. I think Richard made a mistake mentioning the surveillance, especially if it didn't provide any footage to support his investigation stroke theory, as then all it has done is put him on the hook. I don't think... probably if he could go back and do it again, he would be a bit more discreet, but he didn't actually do anything illegal with that surveillance. And what he did was not technically harassment. And in fact, you say here, technically, I don't think he's broken any law regarding filming, but you know what judges are like. Yeah, I do. But then he didn't know he was going to get into this kind of trouble. But it's a perfectly legitimate method of investigative journalism, hidden cameras on a public area, in a public area. And the BBC do this to people all the time. They put cameras everywhere and they film people, they doorstep people, they chase people down the streets. They do far worse things than Richard did. You know, and Richard doesn't chase anyone down the street with a sharpened spike. I'm not sure I agree with his Big Bang Theory conclusions, but well, I've had a look through the video. I've watched it again actually since then. That is the night of the bang, the Manchester Arena event, and there is a case there to be answered. There is something. It is a legitimate question to ask about this. He's brought up some genuine anomalies in the official record of this incident, and those need to be explained. And people have every right. And as you say here, but I feel the public must have the right to challenge and question things. Exactly, Jack. Yes, doesn't matter if they get it wrong. It's the principle of having that freedom. Obvious slander, etc., is still actionable. Yeah, well done, well said, Jack. And you see, in this case, it's not. It's fake slander, I believe. I think it's basically. It has an ulterior motive. This whole case has an ulterior motive, as I've explained. Charles Scott on A Person Goes to OLM. I knew you'd comment on this. There is no question Ben is a liar, blah, 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 blah. Goodbye, Charles, on that particular point. I'm now going to go over to BitChute. So I'll just go to see all notifications. Actually, I'll go through the channel first, as always. Comments from since the last comments reply video. My comments reply video 75. No comments. Oxford, May morning 2023. No comments. Citizen hearing 10 years on live stream. No comments. A person goes to OLM 1 year on. No comments. Oh, and a bit quiet today you're a bit quiet on BitChute, guys. Coronation live stream. Here we go. Sweeps Fox, yay! Hello, Sweeps. How you doing, mate? I'll just pause. Thumbs up again, Ben. Cheers. Blimey, came across my non-limey Welsh Dutch friend. Hey, lol. But really, we've both done separate coronation videos same day. All right, I haven't seen yours yet, peeps. Sweeps. I'm sorry, it's on my list of things to do, but I've had a bit of a stressful couple of days. If you don't mind, put my subject and link here. No, not at all, mate. Feel free to drop your links anytime you like. For you and here and da folks, be intrepid. Come with us, prepping the battlefields to fight globalism and have fun with this. Will do, mate. Will do. I'll have a watch of that as soon as I can. Sweeps. Thank you very much. And finally, a person goes to OLM live stream 1 year on. No comments. That's BitChute done. Oh, sorry, it's not BitChute done, is it? Ben, what about the notice comments? All right. Well, what about the comment? What about the notifications? All right, I'm going to the notifications now. Open notifications. All right. So here we go. Right. Just scrolling down the notifications. They got these little red sort of capsule tic-tac things saying new video. The comments ones I can easily see because they're bigger, but they're a similar kind of notification. Because, of course, as you know, it's possible I'll be getting a comment on an older video. One from a while ago. Down we go, down through these comments here. Oh, here we go. UFO Disclosure 2023, catching up with Steve Bassett. Wormspleen, who's a very, very famous, he's a very well. Wormspleen said, did you ever answer why Steve Bassett did that weird as FI anomaly behaviour years back? No. You'll have to remind me, I'm afraid, Wormspleen, because I don't remember eye anomaly. It may have been some digital artifact or something. I don't think Steve is a reptilian, if that's what you're proposing. Steve seems to have perfectly ordinary eyes, as far as I can tell. But thanks for your comment, much appreciated. I will, if you can be more precise, I'll give you a more precise answer. Down we go, some more. Excuse me. Down we go, some more. There we go. Oh, here we have. Sweep. This is Sweeps. There's just comments on Sweeps' videos that I watched before. Down we go. Here we go. Down. And we're at the bottom. That's it. That's the bottom. Oh, hang on. New reply to comment 74. One above the bottom. It's J330 on reply to comment 74. And he says here, J330. I was wrong to assume you was part of the so-called COVID response, but why would you combine to have a profile picture looking part of the club? It's clear to anyone with any kind of intelligence that the NHS played a big part in the death of thousands, as soon to be millions. They continue to kill and hide the truth. I think it's quite possible they will be hunted like the rats they are when the true collapse begins. Well, J330, can I suggest you go to one of the many channels that have names like ex-army lad or proud marine or former Navy SEAL and Navy boy. Go to those channels. You'll see men putting pictures up of themselves in military uniform. Now, I want you to go and make the same point to them that you made to me. And if you don't, you need to explain why. You need to explain what the difference is between us and why you're singling me out. Okay, until you can do that, then I'm afraid you don't have a legitimate complaint against me. I appreciate you realising you were wrong, though. I mean, you brought up an interesting question. And, as far as the NHS goes, well, the people who ran it, I no quarter for them, I believe. The people like the liars and the people who are behind this sort of thing I can't talk about on YouTube. They don't deserve, what they deserve, I can't say. Community guidelines, but yeah. But apart from that, I think you need to answer that question as well. But I appreciate you backtracking on there. Thank you very much for that. And that's the end of that. That is the end of BitChute. Now I'm going to go to Odyssey. So I'll start with the videos that have come I will now. I don't need to. I think going to the notifications. I actually haven't had any comments on pre-reply to comment 75 videos, because I always collect those when they arrive. Because as you know, Odyssey only gives you like 10 days of notifications, and they delete them. The pages take a while to load because of the ads, but I'm glad. As I said, I'm glad. Unambiguously, I'm very glad that Odyssey have a funding model now. No comments. And we have the Oxford May morning. Summer is a coming in. Dun, 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 dun. Oh Jesus, Jesus! I've got 2 comments now. I'm waiting for the video. I'm going to have to hit pause in a moment when the video starts playing. Here we go. Right, so I hit pause because the video starts playing automatically. But I have Jam Noise 72 says the sound of birds singing is so beautiful. It was worth it for that alone, bro. It was indeed, sis. It really does, soul sister. Yeah, it really does. And it's lovely at that time in the morning. And now we have here Ivan Kosedia. I think I pronounced that right because I have been learning Russian on and off because I might have to go and live there one day. So I'm trying to learn a bit of Russian, and I can read the script more or less. Ivan Koshedia, I think that is Koshedia, if I'm right there. So thanks, and says very interesting. So thank you very much, Ivan, much appreciated. Citizen hearing at 10 years on, live stream. Right, 2 comments here. We have Israel Diego Rivera Genius 2, the real genius himself. That was a thorough explanation of disclosure. Well, thank you very much, IDR, Diego Rivera. I'm hoping for some more thorough Please do not spam. Oh, shut up, I'm not spamming. There we go, I'm not spamming. Yeah, that's because I'm repeating the same comment. That's why. So yeah, Diego Rivera, I'm hoping to provide some more, add to my thorough explanation soon. A person goes to OLM 1 year on. Two comments. Shelley of the Red. Hi Shelley, how you doing? Thanks for commenting again. Shelley is a very regular. I'll have to put a couple of full stops in front of that to prevent the spamming algorithm kicking in. That was the funniest thing that ever came out of COVID at Lamau. Thanks, Shelley. You got to have a laugh at these things, haven't you? And you definitely belong there. I first found you way back in 2014 when you were posting on the Exopolitics Great Britain presentations, and it was great too. You were always walking all England, checking out the sights, doing Boudica moments. I feel like I know England myself just from your adventures you would take us on. I hope they take you back into this conference. Thanks, Shelley. Much appreciated, Shelley. I really do. I'm glad you have enjoyed my channel. The Leeds Exopolitics events were absolutely fantastic, and yeah, it was all the way back then I did those. And as for Outer Limits magazine, if they want me to go back, they actually did invite me back, and you know, I've no hard feelings now. I'd let them go back. I've no hard feelings with them. Yes, I would. I'd be happy to return at some point if I was free. I don't think I am this year though. But thanks for the comment, Shelley. Much appreciated. Coronation live stream. No comments. Times, you know, there we go. And person goes to OLM 1 year on live stream. Hello. One comment. Checking I'm live. One comment. It's Diego Rivera again. Is Davy Jones the real Ben Emlyn-Jones? And who is Ben who's wearing the costume of Ben Emlyn-Jones? Am I who I say I am? Yes. Am I? Maybe I'm somebody else. Maybe when I put these spectacles on, it's the real me. Or when I take them off, they're not. Or maybe there's more changes that have come. You know what I mean? Well, thank you very much for all those comments. Now I'm going to go to Rumble. I actually haven't received any notifications. I will briefly check for notifications for Rumble. In terms of, but I don't think I've had any but I'll just go to reply to comment 75. No comments. I seem to get very few comments on Rumble. I do get a couple of good ones, but there you go. I have May morning, no comments. Citizen hearing, 10 years on. Oh, we have Jesus is Sai Baba. Right. Hello, Jesus is Sai Baba. Right. Sai Baba, of course, is this Indian sort of goo. Oh, I'm just going to put a few comments, just a few things there, so that Rumble won't let you post the same comment twice anywhere on your channel, or anywhere on the platform. Hello, Ben. I would very much appreciate your expert opinion about the fact that Stephen Greer's UFO Endgame to Disclosure surpassed the new Avatar movie on many major video streaming platforms. Hashtag Citizens UFO hearing. Please follow the link below. Okay, that is what I have here is a link to a video which I've seen many times before, because Jesus is Sai Baba often spams me this link, and I don't mind. People can send me links if they want. And I think, as I put a text comment here saying, "Hi JISB, thanks, but I've seen that video. Is that true about Greer's docu beating Avatar 2? And now, did I actually say that, or did someone else say that? I don't think I said that. If so, then that's great news, even if I'm not 100% behind Greer. As it happens, the new Avatar film has been panned by viewers and critics, but all the same, it is Hollywood. Thanks for letting me know." So that's that particular Rumble video done. That's that particular comment on that video I had there. A person goes to OLM 1 year on. No comments. Coronation live stream. No comments. A person goes to OLM 1 year on live stream. No comments. Right, well that's it. What I'll do now is I'll just go back to. I guess I'll just go back to. I don't really need the timer anymore. I'll just go back to. I'll go back to the channel page. I'll just refresh that, which probably nothing will come on it. And then I should go to channel notifications. I should go to notifications for the channel. So I'll go like that, refresh, and see what I get. Because these are like live notifications. These are live YouTube notifications. Oh, I've got more than 9. What's this then? Okay, so we'll go back down here. Okay, what we got here? 3 hours ago now, right? Okay, Jamnoy72 said here. Jamnoy72 says here, Steve constantly fumbling, accusing me of ad hominem. Oh my god, bro, that made me laugh. Haha. Can't wait for the next reply video. I think things will be much better with the troll blocked. Oh, they will indeed, Jackie. Yes. I miss Max Q like I miss a boil on the arse. I really do. Stephen Truthseeker says here on OLM live stream. Yes, Ben. The lady in question was probably laughing her guts out, watching you from Spirit World dressed up as Davy Jones. Oh, I hope so. This is a reference to the angel. Stephen and I have been discussing about whether the angel might actually be a departed spirit, whom we both know, someone who actually who walked the earth as a human, and we both know. Stephen Trusick asks, oh right, this is a What Dreams May Come Watch Read Party introduction. So when is this going to happen? Right, well, I did say the summer, didn't I? So Stephen, we're getting on to the summer, so maybe I should get this done pretty soon. Stephen says here, all right, what's this? Oh, this was on a notice comment. I thought you said you didn't want to do one on the paranormal. Right, I did. Oh, what did I say? I do, Stephen, as I've explained, I do want to do one on the paranormal, but really, that's like saying, are you going to do a video on the New World Order, Ben? What's like asking Stefan Molyneux, are you going to do a video on freedom? It's like, you're essentially asking me to do a video about a subject matter which I put into all my videos anyway, so there doesn't seem to be much point. I mean, except you could bring up paranormal discussions in the What Dreams May Come video if you like. Going back up a bit, I've had a lot of comments actually that have been posted while I've been doing this. Stephen Truthseeker said, I think your spy is a real spy. Funny enough, I've been reading up on espionage. You know, I did my spy video of London. It was going to be a series originally, because I'm very because of course it's an element of the Obscurati Chronicles. The Black Circle says, no worries, cheers. Oh no, thanks Black Circle. It will be coming very soon. Okay, so I think that's it. I think I'll do one more refresh. Right, one new notification. Oh no, it's Maya Tusi Zelensky banned from Eurovision. Okay, that's Maya Tusi's video notification 56 seconds ago. Right you are. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, goggle-eyed people and bare-eyed people alike, that's the end of my comments reply video. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's posted one. It's only 2.5 hours. Only 2.5 hours this time. Can believe it. That's one of the shortest I've done in ages. It's only like a day or two shorter than when I'd normally do one anyway. So thank you very much for everyone who has posted a comment, apart from the trolls who I've got rid of. And basically, obviously, needless to say, if you didn't post these comments, this video wouldn't happen. So really, pat yourself on the back for this one. Because thank you. And again, I can't thank you enough for your contribution, your interaction, your feedback, which allows me to make these videos. I really do enjoy that. Now, what's next? Where am I going to take my goggle-eyed head next? Right, I'm not sure what I'm going to do this week with videos. I've got some personal issues I have to deal with, which is making things difficult. I'm going to, on Friday, I'm going off to the Basis Project Conference, but I've decided I'm probably going to make that an audio-only event. Which means it will be on HPANWO radio, not TV. I'm doing audio reportage. I did one of those before, and I thought they were quite good, so I thought I'll try doing one again. But maybe, I could do the What Dreams May Come. I could do one of the book. The thing is, I haven't actually read the book of What Dreams May Come, and I don't think I'll be able to read it this week, so I probably won't do that. But I will try and think of another video to do maybe on Wednesday, or maybe even before then. I'll try and think of one to do. Okay, guys, just so there's not too long a gap. Otherwise, it's going to be more than a week until the next video. Maybe I'll do a live stream or something. Anyway, this is Ben. With glasses or no glasses, I'm still the same person. Thank you, all of you, for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.